Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're back, man. Episode 203.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let's get right into it. Recently, as we all, well, probably some of you don't know, or maybe you don't give a shit, but it is Black History Month.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to black people, yo.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, Keith got the Black History shirt on.
Yeah.
What does it say on the front?
I am Black History.
Oh, all right. I thought the bottom said I am the N-word.
Nah, I think if Joe Rogan made this shirt, it probably would say I am nigger at the bottom.
That's hilarious. Yeah, we'll get into that conversation a little later. Yeah. So recently, a school celebrated Black History Month with feeding the kids fried chicken. But let me go ahead and read the article. School serves fried chicken to honor Black History Month. A Massachusetts school is facing backlash after reportedly trying to commemorate the beginning of Black History Month by serving fried chicken for lunch. In honor of Black History Month, one way we will celebrate is by highlighting a traditional meal each week that is a staple in Southern Black history. Today's lunch is fried chicken. Xavier Brothers High School announced to students over the PA system Tuesday morning. That was dumb. Why would you announce that over the PA system? In order to commemorate Black History Month, we'll be serving fried chicken.
It was crickets in the room. Niggas is not excited about school fried chicken.
Kids ain't excited about school, and then now you say fried. Just serve the fucking chicken. You ain't gotta you expect black people to jump up and down for fried chicken. Like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
Like, we eat that for dinner. Anyways, Tuesday marked the first day of Black History Month, which parties and organizations ranging from NASA to White House have committed to honoring Xavier. What the hell? Committed to honoring. Anyways, Xavier's own attempt to kick off the month was decreed by several students, including Michael Earls, the student body vice president for the school's senior class. He said in a statement that the Xavier administration must first acknowledge that their ignorance perpetuated a racist stereotype and issue a formal apology. School official in Xavier said that they were trying to educate students about Black history and culture. They also said that a food service employee at the school was African American and had chosen fried chicken as the meal. Regrettably, our message was poorly.
IKEA said the same thing.
Yeah, like we chose our black person to get the food to the kids. Regrettably, our message was poorly communicated, resulting in some perceived as propagation of a negative stereotype. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, first and foremost, you serve fried chicken, but the thing about it, I think that this is for all cultures. I think we need to do a better job of learning all the nuances of people's culture, right? So they serve fried chicken, but I hope it wasn't like fried chicken with corn and mashed potatoes or some shit. Mm-hmm. And we as black people too, we need to stop running away from the fact that fried chicken is a part of soul food. If we want to talk about what's what, fried chicken is the president of soul food. Mm-hmm. It is the fucking president of soul food. Second is like probably collard greens, and the third is like probably cornbread. Mm-hmm. Right? So we need to stop running away from it. And yes, it's been used as a racial stereotype against black people, and it's just because motherfuckers was racist. But truth be told, fried chicken is a strong part of soul food. It really is. The same way in other cultures, like, lasagna and ravioli and spaghetti, that's Italian shit, man. Mm-hmm. When it comes to Mexicans, it's tacos and albóndigas and soap and not sopas, but freaking menudo and what's the other one? Fideo and all of that. That's all Mexican stuff. But I think black culture they've created like a negative connotation with fried chicken. And then they use the whole watermelon fried chicken, and it's very racist. So I think that's why so many black people are sensitive to it. But with me, if you make me fried chicken, I'll eat it.
I personally don't want no white person bringing me fried chicken off the strength of Black History Month. Like, yeah, it's just, especially if you're announcing it over the intercom. Like, hey, niggers, Black Student Body Union, gonna bring some good old fried chicken. I also don't want white people cooking me fried chicken. Just outside, even if it's January, February, March, April, May, June, whatever month, like, just because They ain't gonna put no seasonings in there. It's not gonna fly. But no, just in all seriousness, I think that for the most part, I don't believe that they're like running from this idea of like liking or appreciating fried chicken. I think we all understand, like, as a culture, it's just it just feels a little bit weird when a white person is presenting it as like trying to
appreciate a culture.
Yeah, cultural appreciation. There's just so much more you can do outside of like leaning in on some sort of stereotype, whether that's teaching us about, you know, some of the historical black figures that we aren't so familiar with, or you know, having discussions about race, or it's just so much more you can do outside of this like the stereotype.
What I think too is like when it comes to American history, a lot of the shit that's taught in schools is a lie by omission. So there's the suppression of, you know, information regarding black inventors, black creators, things of that nature. But yet you want to recognize us with fried chicken. And I think that fried chicken is the same thing that was weaponized against black people as a fucking stereotype and a joke.
They used to use fried chicken as a weapon? Yeah,
they would just throw pieces of fried chicken at us. Take that! I got hit with a few drumsticks in my day. Yeah, but no, it's unfortunate that people understand the stereotypes or fried chicken. They've already tied that in with black history, but they haven't tied in all the awesome things that come from black history and all the inventors and creators. And a lot of people don't know about Black Wall Street and the amount of wealth and things that black people had and the things they created. You know, I forgot her name. Damn it. The woman that had a bunch of different patents on things. Like, there's a whole bunch of history that's not taught.
Yeah.
But when you lead with fried chicken, that's where the fucking problem starts.
Yeah.
That's like I live in California, right? I live in Bakersfield. But the thing about it, I've been living in California my whole life, and the state is predominantly Latino. So if I live in Bakersfield or just in California in general, and I don't know anything about Latino culture, I think that's more of me trying not to know it. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of me trying not to know it than me actually, I have no idea. And I think that a lot of people have purposely tried to not learn the history of black people for a very long time.
Yeah, you know? I mean, because you appreciate the present, right?
Right.
You can appreciate Jordans, you can appreciate Tiger Woods, you can appreciate, you know, all the different athletes in hip hop, the Lil Waynes, the Jay-Z's, but it's like, you know, from a historical standpoint, you're almost being ignorant to, you know, what's going on. Yeah, but even the historical fit, like Martin Luther King is probably the biggest civil rights leader, ever. But even to just know his name, but not know anything else about him, like, you're just not trying.
You don't know about any of the attempts on his life. Like, Martin Luther King was literally bombed a few times with his family in the home, and they didn't kill him, obviously, but they tried to kill him with a bomb multiple times.
Yeah,
like, this is shit that they didn't teach you in school. They just taught you that Martin Luther King came down on a unicorn. And he had presents for kids, and he came down a chimney,
and
right?
He marched across this bridge.
That's what you learned about Martin Luther King.
He gave a really good speech.
Yeah, he was
sweating.
Yeah, he was sweating. A lot of people don't know that Martin Luther King had a white girlfriend too. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
people be like, "What?" Like, there's so many things that people don't know about this our historical leaders in general, and then it's just unfortunate when you lead with fried chicken. I'm not running away from it. Like, as a black man, I don't sit here eating fried chicken every day, but I would say that it is a huge part of soul food, which is, connected to our culture.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't have a problem with it, but the problem I do have is that when you lead with fried chicken and you don't lead with anything else, now I'm not even offended then, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Like, this is the same shit that was weaponized against black people as a joke. You called us watermelon and fried chicken, and now here we are.
Yeah. And
you've given us fried chicken like it's a real thing. You ever seen companies that are failing across the board, and then they just offer people like a pizza party? They offer their employees a pizza party.
Yeah. Like,
they just basically offered us a chicken party, and we're supposed to be jumping up and down like, woo, chicken, baby.
Yeah.
Like,
but even like, you know, I guess I don't think this is cool, but I guess there's a spin on it that you could do where it would be like showing students why they even eat chicken, or why we eat chitlins, or why we eat ham, and all these different things, and kind of do a breakdown of how a lot of the slaves were kind of left the scraps, and they had to just put some stuff together, and it turned in like I think that's the theme of being black is just like getting left the scraps and then creating something amazing out of it.
People don't realize that soul food came from despair and pain. Yeah, it came from despair and pain, like neck bones and was it neck bones and like oxtail, certain stuff. Like that shit came from scraps. A lot of black people got left scraps and they cooked it and made the best of it. Yeah, and people would be like, oh, soul food, but at the same time, soul food didn't just come from black people's soul. It came from despair. So there's so much that people don't know about black culture. I don't, and my thing is this: I'm only 36 years old. There's too much that I don't know about black history my goddamn self. But
that's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's a whole lot that we don't know. Me and Keith put our great brains together, and we probably only know about a few years.
Yeah, facts. I mean, even the history of some of our like actual relatives. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't. And that's one thing that I wish I was more familiar with. Like, who is my great grandfather? Where is he from? And stuff like that. But
yeah, I did a DNA, and I was directly a family member to Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders actually was working at the plantation that my family was on.
The McGee plantation.
Yeah, he was overseeing that plantation. I'm just kidding, folks.
My great grandfather, his name was Popeye, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he was actually the first person to put real season on chicken.
Wow, was it crispy or original?
It was crispy.
Holy shit, it was spicy too, huh?
And then he also invented the biscuits. Wow. And one day Massa was tripping, so he gave him a biscuit and he choked to death.
Wow. He gave him a biscuit and knocked over that cup of water he had.
Yeah.
Go down over there to that well, boy. Go to that well, boy, and get me some water.
Could you imagine the Massa just choking and just trying to like lick up the water off the ground, like?
Oh man. Yeah. They're the biscuits from Popeyes, man. One thing is those, they're not bad tasting biscuits. So don't.
The flavor is good, yeah.
The flavor is good on those biscuits at Popeyes. But if you don't have some form of hydration that is marrying that biscuit going down your throat, that is going to be a fucking train wreck. You know what they should do on Mortal Kombat? One of the fatalities on Mortal Kombat should be like them just throwing a biscuit down your throat. Fatality.
In the new games they do like the internal organs and stuff like that. Imagine the biscuit just getting lodged in your throat.
The biscuit just lodged in your fucking. The biscuit get like they just shove a biscuit down your spinal cord. Fatality. That's Popeye's wild. Biscuits. You win. Back in it, do you remember the game Killer Instinct?
Do they drive around in cars?
No.
No, I don't remember.
It was almost like Street Fighter, but it's a little different.
I remember it vaguely. I remember the name. I don't remember much.
Killer Instinct had this mode, like when you start like hitting people and you did like a combo, it would just be like you be hitting them hella fast, like and it'd be like ultra. Yeah,
I'm looking at it now.
Oh, you looking at Killer Instinct?
Yeah.
My favorite person to fight with was this dude named Cinder. He was like,
he looked like?
He was like his whole body was like fire.
Oh yeah, I see him right here.
Oh, you see him right there? Yeah, he was dope.
Yeah, I don't remember that game. Like
yeah, it came. You was a little kid when that shit came out because you came around 92. That shit was out in 96. You was only 4.
Yeah,
I remember I got that on Christmas in 96.
Dang.
Yeah, man.
Nah, yeah. It was that's an interesting area in gaming where you could have, now it's no real competition. I feel like there's like kind of the culture that Madden and 2K kind of created where it's not much competitive games out there. So you might have one fighting game and you might have one, like role playing game, or you might have one adventure game. Like it just used to be so much more diversity in the games where you could walk into GameStop and it'd be like a smorgasbord of games across the thing. Now you go in, it's just like probably a row of maybe Grand Theft Auto right here, 2K right here, Madden right here.
And what's weird about GameStop is they have the same motherfuckers working at every store. There's always a nerd with glasses. Always a motherfucker with glasses.
It's always a dude in there. He may switch roles with the guy with the glasses, but he got a long ponytail.
Oh my God. And here the combo, ponytail and glasses.
Yeah. If you were that, yeah, for sure.
And they always have like the same nerdy like tone of voice. Actually, Killer Warzone 3 came out in 1994, but they have the newest one coming out soon. Would you like to purchase that?
They have an expansion pack if you want to purchase that as well. Niggas are trying to sell an expansion packs.
Oh man,
it's comedy.
Yeah, and then they'll be the same motherfucker that look you in the eyes and rip you off of that store credit from GameStop.
Yeah,
oh my God,
store credit.
Like, so what it's showing me here is it's showing me that you would get $20 store credit, but for cash we'll give you $3.99. You'd be like, man, fuck y'all. I'm just gonna keep my game now.
That's the big. I wonder if they can do that now because we have the eBays and the OfferUps and stuff. I feel like if they really, and I don't know, I haven't been in there in years, but I feel like if they really want people to bring stuff in, they got to be way more competitive.
Yeah, they do. And it's funny, you could suck them into a nerdy conversation. Mm-hmm. You'll be like, yeah, instead of a store credit, I want to get this in NFT. Like, oh wow, I wish we could get it in NFT. Yeah, I think a non-fungible token would actually be, it would appreciate in price instead of actually go down, right? Yeah. So how about that expansion pack? Do you think you'd want to get that? Oh man.
How you suck somebody into a nerdy combo?
Oh, you can suck them into a nerdy conversation. And I do that on purpose sometimes because like I'm a multifaceted person where I'm not a nerd, but I know enough nerd shit to like trigger a person's trigger their mind. You'd be like, hey man, so how about that Zelda? Oh yeah, Zelda, definitely. I remember that. That was when that came out, and yeah, I still have the action figures from that. And they'll be older than me. They'll be like fucking 41 working at GameStop.
That's hilarious.
Like, dude, how do you?
They're just trying to ring you up, and you hit him with the NFTs, and it's over.
It's over.
It's 30 minutes of non-fungible tokens.
Like, I was in the metaverse last night.
I got a meta wife, actually.
Yeah, my wife's on metaverse. I'm like, is this your real wife? No. I met her on the metaverse last night. Her name is Gabriella. She's really nice girl. I think we're going to get married. You'd be like, nigga, you need to get out and meet real women, motherfucker.
That's hilarious. They have the, there was these, the anime Naruto?
Yeah, I heard of it.
They had, there's this company that makes like these 3D, like I got the Steph Curry shoe.
Yes.
For the NFT. There's another company that does like anime characters, and they were selling like NFTs of the anime characters. Yeah. They came out like the first week of January or something like that.
They have a NFT they basically, people are buying homes through the metaverse. I think I sent you that link. Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy. And it's making the home buying process. He said this is the future of the home buying process. You skip all the, the qualifications and all of that, and you can literally get a home through the metaverse.
Yeah, I have some virtual real estate.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It's fucking
prices of it are going pretty
I'm talking
crazy.
about real estate. I'm talking about actual real estate. Mm-hmm. And it's being bought through the metaverse.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just like the metaverse is just, you can't really quantify the metaverse,
mm-hmm.
Outside of the name that Mark Zuckerberg probably
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all just like this virtual space.
Yeah,
it's pretty, like the prices on there. I'm curious to see where it goes because I have like three homes on there. But when I originally bought the stuff on there,
mm-hmm.
the prices were much lower. But now they're like, you can't even get in without, you might have to spend
what, $1,300?
Yeah, if you want a decent property, you might have to spend a few $1,000s on there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's going up every day. It's the more information that goes out, the more people are buying properties and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's nuts. All right, switching gears. Recently, comedian TK Kirkland made a statement on Breakfast Club that I didn't agree with at all, but I'll give some context. Basically, he said that a man shouldn't even be having sex unless he has $25,000 in his bank account. And the point he was trying to make, I'll even give this more context, but he was saying like almost like a man's focus should be his security, and then he should be able to have sex. But the number he gave, I totally disagree with. Like the average American, see, the problem with people that are wildly successful is they tend to make statements that don't apply to the average like American person. You're saying that like a man should have 25,000. Now I'm going to give you a story about myself, and I've already mentioned this on the podcast before. This is
story time with Eddie McGee.
Story time, pussy time. There's many. I'm getting to it, Keith. Okay, stop cutting me off. All right. Many years ago, I say this is at least 7 years, 8 years ago, something like that. Yeah, probably about around 8 years ago. I was wanting to really hook up with this chick, and it was just basically going to be a pussy appointment. But in order to have a young lady over and for her to relax and stuff, and for you to have a good time, you have to spend a little bit of money. So, buy a little alcohol, maybe some snacks or some food or whatever. And I was so fucking broke at that time, and this is before I was truck driving. I didn't have any money, and I was like, "Fuck!" I'm scared because I don't want her over, and not for her not to have like a a comfortable visit.
Yeah.
So I ended up I had some speakers in my car, and I sold them. And I got an okay money for it. I forgot what I got. Probably like $185.
This on
the street. Sold it for $185 to somebody to one of my speakers. Sold them that, and I literally had to sell my speakers just to have money to hang out, just to get laid. And I didn't really have money.
You shouldn't be having sex, Eddie.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm getting into it. My pockets were empty, but my nuts was too. Okay? Just because you're not doing the greatest in life doesn't mean you don't deserve to have sex. That's a stupid fucking statement, right? But my thing is I had intentions of being better and doing more. So I wasn't some loser that was out here fucking and not doing anything. But I'm just giving a real life account. Like, I'm not too embarrassed to admit that I was broke and I had to sell speakers just to get laid. You know what I mean? And it's embarrassing, but it's true. And there's other people who have embarrassing stories like that. There's been stories where a dude wanted to take a girl out, but he had no money. There are times where I literally had to like make up an excuse to not go on a date, and it was because I didn't have any fucking money.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing. But I think that number he had, dude, that's just too much. It's too. The average person, even me now, I don't have $25,000 in my account. I don't. Okay. I'm not broke, but I ain't got $25K in my savings. I don't. Also, the average person in America lives paycheck to paycheck. And not only that, they don't have enough money for a $500 emergency. So I think when you make statements like this, you need to also realize what's going on in the real world. Like most people, inflation is kicking their fucking ass. The amount of money. There are some people that work 2 jobs and they still broke.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. But but you mean to tell me that those people don't deserve some sexual healing?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me? And by the way, he talked about men. So we're not going to talk about women that's broke out here women will be in the middle of a whole phase and I have no money and just be getting dick. But ain't nobody talking about women. I'm sure there's plenty of broke girls in college. And they go to the bar and they get let into the bar for free and they get free drinks. They have not spent they probably went into that club. They had $15 or $20, but they didn't have to buy a drink because a dude bought them drinks. They didn't have to do nothing. But with men, I guess he had that opinion about us. So
yeah, imagine your money being in a stock market and you got like $24,999 and it's just going up and down, and you you in the middle of foreplay, but you're like, dang, I can't even smack her down until this mug go over $25,000. Like, just how much stress that would be on you as an individual.
Yeah.
But I think that what TK Kirkland is saying, not literally what he's saying, but the idea of what he's saying is okay with me. I think there are a lot of people, a lot of guys, a lot of women out here that, but he's talking about guys, but that are focused on the wrong things.
Yeah.
So it's guys that are in every woman's DMs. There's guys that are hollering at every girl. They're going out every single weekend. Like, they're just exhausting, the majority of their free time trying to have sexual encounters with various women. But I guess the idea is like, it takes a lot of effort to communicate with women, especially if you're trying to like smash these women. It takes a lot of effort to, be consistent with, the communication, setting up dates, obviously, and you can't really have, I don't know if maybe when you're young and you in high school, you could probably like have sexual encounters without having no money at all.
Yeah.
You having sex and, especially at BHS, niggas getting head
that's different
on the third floor. And, you might be having sex outside after a football, all kind of like crazy, wild stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're an adult, you got to pay rent.
Yeah.
You got to drive somewhere. You might have to go out to eat.
Yep.
You might have to go to the movies. All these things cost a lot of money. So, essentially, I think what he's trying to say outside of the $25,000 number,
it's the focus
is you just got to focus on yourself. And once you focus on yourself, I think all these other things will start to fall in place.
Yeah.
And you'll have the ability, to do more things. Like, say you do want to. We were talking about Tahoe Joe's how that's like the the upper echelon.
That's a girlfriend spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like or if you are courting somebody, you might have the money to spend $200 on a meal.
Right.
So yeah, but I just think overall, like we have to refocus ourselves and stop chasing pussy so much, man.
I think the problem with men though, men will literally struggle and pay up $1,000 truck payment just so they can have a nice lifted truck and pull up to the bar and barely have money. So men do things to impress women.
Yeah.
And it is kind of sad that they'll do it. And the focus is off. Like, act your wage, bro. You don't have to act like you got it all.
Yeah.
Not for one moment do I ever want to mislead people and tell them how much money I'm making or not making. It's no one's business. But men really be doing that. It's a lack of focus. When you make women the center of your universe, you already failed.
Yeah.
A woman should never be the center of your universe. It should always be your purpose in life, and what you're trying to do. I'm not saying she shouldn't be. She should definitely be a priority, but she should never be priority number one. If you make a woman your number one priority, then that's not good. And there's a lot of people that would disagree with that. But you can never make a woman your number one priority, because if you're the guy that makes a woman your number one priority, but you're broke, how's that helping your life? How? You're making women a priority when you are walking around with $30.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Because what happens is you're going to spend that last $30 on, trying to impress a woman in some capacity.
Yep. Yeah. And you just, it's a waste of time. Now, like, what I will say too is what's bad is when celebrities or people make these statements that have a lot of money. This is what it sounds like, Keith. Okay, I'm 6'2" and some change. But imagine if I said, height doesn't matter, bro. Height doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how tall you are.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from a person who is over 6'2". But a person that is 5'4", 5'6", they'll be like, man, fuck you.
The only reason I will push back on that is that that same person could have gotten rich over time, right? So that they could have actually utilized that advice themselves when they were broke. So say they were actually working at Popeyes and they wasn't making no money, and then they was also trying to chase women each and every day, and then they was like, man, he made a pact to himself, I'm not chasing no more women, or I'm not having sex until I have $25,000 in the bank. So he do all the shows.
He definitely didn't do that though.
He touring. We don't know what he did, but I'm saying, like, if that's the idea that he had, like, he goes on tour and he's like, okay, after I have $25,000 in my bank, like, then I could, start talking to women.
I just think it's a bullshit. It's a fucking bullshit statement. The reason why I use that height thing is because I'm speaking from an elitist stance. If I'm Drake and I say money don't matter and I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And I'm telling you money doesn't matter while being rich, you don't want to hear that from me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's just like somebody saying, like, it doesn't matter what you look like or this. In the real world, we know that people like attractive people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter this doesn't matter. In the real world, we know how people really are, bro.
Some people believe that, though. I think
you can believe it. It's fine. You could believe it, but we know how people's minds really work, though.
But I'm saying you're generalizing people, but I'm saying there are some people that can look at Drake or even J. Cole when he has a song called Love Yours, and they listen to that and they consume it, and they may be broke and they may not ever experience what real wealth is, but they may believe that. It doesn't, not because J. Cole is a millionaire, I don't think it discredits that person. Because they're making a statement from an elitist standpoint.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm not generalizing the whole population, but there is a massive amount of people that like attractive people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that's a fact. Like, if we want to talk about what general attraction is, if you got an eyeball hanging out your fucking eye socket and you like, looks don't matter. Well, good luck, motherfucker. Okay?
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. You know, I think that sometimes when people speak in extremes, they need to realize what they're talking about. Let's say me and you we're sitting here, except we're sitting in a bigger studio, and it's 4 or 5 years from now, and I'm worth 30 million, you're worth whatever millions worth of dollars. I'm pretty sure I'll be richer than you. So I say probably I'll probably be worth about 100. Keith will be worth about 75 million. Now, when we're making that much money and we say, bro, it doesn't matter if you're broke. Money doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. I would need to give context behind it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important some people, there are some people that have so much success that it skews their worldview. And that's the problem that I have is when people have success, it will skew the way they even talk or think. And it's like, bro, can you sit down for 5 minutes and realize that's not how the real world works? If I got $150 million in the next few years, I'll say, hey, I'm blessed. I'm thankful. But yes, you do need to make more money. Yes, it is difficult being poor. Yes, I've struggled. Yes, it's tough. I want to give people kind of real world, realistic, like outlooks of what's really going on instead of telling them you shouldn't get no pussy unless you got 25,000. I think if the average person, let's say if you save up $6,000, $7,200, $10,000, that's a decent savings.
Yeah.
That's a decent savings, I would say. Is it a lot of money? Fuck no. But it's a decent savings. But can you say that the average person has 10,000 in savings? No.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't necessarily, I don't disagree with the amount. I think that I don't even think it's supposed to be taken literally. But I think that even if that was a real thing, I think that there would be far better parents out here and like less people struggling. Cause it'd be niggas that got no money to their name out here, you know, busting and women and having babies. And, you know, it's just, you're creating this cycle of, you know, just broke people or this in poverty, like the cyclical thing. But I don't know. I think that, you know, when it comes to these people speaking from an elite standpoint, you definitely should take what they're saying with a grain of salt. But also we have to realize that they're speaking from a place of understanding. So, you know, a lot of these people have, you know, been there and done that. So even if I do happen to have $75 million and I be a broke nigga compared to Eddie, and, you know, I'm giving you this advice. I'm giving you this advice as far as like, you know, what you should do with your money or how you should move. I'm also speaking from the person that was broke only 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. This is where the problem starts. A lot of people don't keep the same energy. The same people that struggle, we've seen this, trust me. We've seen people that make these profound statements and go back on what they said because of the way they start treating people. So the same person that's telling you should have 25,000, they probably was struggling like a motherfucker. They was getting head and pussy every other day. They was broke, getting their dick sucked everywhere. You know, probably even paying for prostitution, right? But they'll tell you that they will literally. Have you ever seen like a college professor or somebody that's like a teacher and they make the class so hard that everybody is struggling? Some people, when they acquire stature, they want to make it almost impossible for you to make it there. They want to make it like this shit is so fucking difficult to get here. But truth be told, like, fuck, how do I really explain this away? Like, some people just don't practice what they preach. They will say you need to have 25,000 before you have sex, But truth be told, they was still having sex. And they know it's not easy to acquire that. They just want you to feel small. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people want you to feel small once they've acquired success. And it's a problem. Sometimes I think it's intentional. I'm not saying that was his intention, but I think some people want you to feel small. Mm-hmm. And it's trash, but it really does happen also.
I don't think that that's where advice comes from. I think that
I'm not saying that's where advice comes from. Some people want you to feel small because they've acquired something or they've acquired success. They want you to think it's so fucking hard to get it, even though they're the same people that struggle. Some people do it, and it's not coming from an honest place. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I think that like a guy like TK, when he's saying that, or like even when Drake was like, he won the Grammy and he's like, if you got people wrapped around the building and, you got people waiting outside for your shows, buying your merch, like that's more important than this Grammy right here. I genuinely think they're speaking from a genuine place, but that's just my opinion. I can't really, we're going to argue it to death, but that's just my personal opinion.
I agree with some of these things, but I hate it when things come off as disingenuous to me. I have a problem with it, especially when people speak in these extremes. Now, Drake is a lot different because he wasn't speaking in an extreme. I think he said that like this, this doesn't matter. But truth be told, it is like if he wasn't getting any of the attention or getting any awards, I think it would fucking matter too. I think if you are a person that works hard and you work diligently to put out these hot records and you don't get any recognition, I think it's going to bother some people. I think most people will be bothered because when you reach the apex of success in whatever you're doing and it comes with accolades, you're going to be wondering why does that motherfucker keep getting awards and I'm not getting anything? So he can say this doesn't matter, but you've already got how many Grammys, Drake? You've already got how many awards for what you do? And I'm not trying to speak ill of Drake at all, but I just think that sometimes people's worldview gets a little bit skewed when they've had success already. But as a person like us, we do a podcast. We see these podcasts making millions of dollars for doing what they do. Our long-term objective is to do the same thing. But we're coming from a place of, I would actually like to make that much money. Yes, I would like to actually do that. But once we acquire the money, we're not going to say this don't matter. As long as you got people listening to you, this and that. Well, honestly, that two things would be true, actually, in that case. Because we don't make no money on it now, and we love it.
Yeah, that's my point. My point is like a guy like so there's Drake. There's the Drake example. Drake is TK Kirkland. Drake is the guy that is accomplished whatever and trying to give you the structure and how to get to where he's at. And then there's also the guy that is speaking not from an elitist standpoint. There's a guy that doesn't have a Grammy. There's a guy that doesn't have whatever accolades, and they're giving you the same advice. I honestly don't care what he has to say because he hasn't actually accomplished the thing that they're speaking about. So if a person is like, man, you don't need no Grammy, you don't need none of that, you don't need to sell a platinum album, and I'm like, well, you almost sound like you're speaking out of spite. Because you're not like a guy like, no disrespect to Russ, but Russ hasn't had the same type of accolades as some of the superstars. It's
like Chris Paul.
Hip-hop. Yeah, if Chris Paul, or Charles Barkley or Allen Iverson,
you don't need an NBA championship.
Yeah, but I'm like,
you never had one.
You're all probably saying that because you exhausted your career, you never accomplished that.
Oh my
God! But if a guy like Drake is like, hey, you don't like, I've been here. I worked every single day to get a Grammy, and then I got a Grammy, and it don't feel nothing in comparison to people showing up at my shows or buying my merch.
What we've just mentioned, I think we could label this a double-edged sword, because if you're a person that won an NBA championship and you say, I don't really need one, you already got one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And if you ain't got one, you'd be like, you ain't never had one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I think that's where this comes from. So we don't want to beat it down, but I think we've gotten everything out of this conversation we could possibly get. But yeah, shout out to TK Kirkland, man.
TK Kirkland is. I was listening to the Brilliant Idiots, and he was. I don't know if you are on YouTube enough or in the comments enough to know that there is a fake TK Kirkland that pops
they talked to yeah.
So she got on there and she was like,
mad.
I already know your type of person you is. You be in my YouTube comments and stuff, and they had to let her know, like, dog, this is not real.
That's not me. And the way you talk, I was dying. Like, that's actually not me. And I've been telling people to take that down. I don't know who that is.
That's hilarious. But dude, whoever got that account is hilarious. Because it's so funny, and I met TK Kirkland one time when we were shooting this documentary, and the way that, and mind you, this is how he is in his interviews and stuff too, but the way that like the person does the comments is pretty much how he really is in real life. Like you'll be like, hey, TK Kirkland, what do you think about Jesus? He'd be like, oh, Jesus was cool. Back in the day, me and Jesus used to run together, and then I left Jesus, and I went with Judas because Jesus was tripping. He'd be like, I'm talking about Jesus.
Oh, my God.
He just finds a way to insert himself into every...
Very, very narcissistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the story involves him mentioning him. Like, what'd you have for breakfast? I had sausage, but, I make the food better than they can make it. You like, nigga, if you don't shut the fuck up, God damn it.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm the type of person that during a conversation, I can do it respectfully. If I'm having a conversation with TK Kirkland, I'll be like, TK, I think it's kind of interesting how you find a way to make everything relative to you.
About it, so.
You tend to do that. Like, he's like, well, actually, I don't. I think that me personally, I'm like, see, you're doing it right now. You're doing it again, TK.
Yeah. that podcast was funny because you could tell like TK was extremely composed, but the women had a lot of energy towards.
They did.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff he was saying.
A lot of women get on the defense when they hear certain words that are triggering. Because you got to understand, the way a lot of women, not a lot, not all, but the way a lot of women react to things from men is based on like this, like an old school man, like get in the kitchen, make me a sandwich type shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not on that energy.
I wish we were still in those days.
Because them sandwiches was bomb back in the day. Y'all, women sure do know how to make a good sandwich back in that day. What happened to women? Nah, I'm playing. No, but I think with him, because he's 61 years old, certain things he says, he was like, see right there, I could get mad because you spoke out of turn, but I didn't. And they was like, what do you mean speak out of turn?
Yeah, that was getting real.
They got super defensive about it. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it, what they need to understand, it's just like let's say an old white man says, there's some really good colored folks out there in Bakersfield, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get offended by an elderly white man that calls black people colored. You know why? Because his echo chamber or his bubble is his truth and his reality. And me being cognizant of his time period, I'm not trying to say what he's saying is okay, but I know what he's about, so I'm not going to get offended. Mm-hmm. But what women do is they get super defensive when a man is 61. Now, here's the difference. I'm 36. If I talk to a woman like that and say, you talking out of turn, I think that you being super angry at me, I think it's valid. I think it's a valid response. Mm-hmm. But a 61-year-old man, you need to understand that this man is old enough to be your father. But he comes from a totally different time period where that was not an issue.
I think that in that moment, the idea of talking out of turn is kind of like, I mean, we understand the ramifications of that, as far as like even a child speaking out of turn, or, maybe back in the day, if men were talking, a woman, she got to say, excuse me before she speak or something like that. But in that conversation, they were like cutting each other off constantly.
Yes, yeah.
And I think the whole speaking out of turn maybe could get lost in the sauce of just the terminology he was using, but they weren't letting him finish his sentence a lot of times.
They were cutting him off.
Yeah.
They weren't. So I think that he may have used the wrong, like, to them, because they live there. Wheezy is only 30, and I forgot her name? Nyla is only 26. So you got two young women that live in a totally different world than you do.
Yeah.
And
Nyla is a woman in a more probably predominantly male industry, so she may feel slighted sometimes. And
you know how many times a lot of men in spaces that are older say things that ain't right, like every other word. Yeah, the bitch did this, and the bitch went over there, then the bitch. And it's like, bro, that's why I don't call women bitches. I don't do that. So the thing about it is, like, me and Keith come from I don't know how to really explain it. But we understand the endless nuances of how to speak and what to say. For example, if I'm talking to a woman and she's yelling at me like, why are you doing it? I'm like, hey, I'm talking to you. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We don't got to yell. I'm not a threat. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's talk. And then I think she's more likely to bring her tone down. And if she doesn't, then I'm going to walk away.
Good luck.
I'm just saying what I would do.
Yeah.
Say, hey, look, I'm not going against you. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk. And the thing about it is women will take any small thing that you say and try to use it against you when they're mad, because it's only confirming their bias against you in that moment. So, for example, if you say, hey, let's just talk like adults. You saying I'm not an adult? You saying I can't talk like an adult? Is it a problem? And they start wiggling their body like this. You saying I'm not an adult? I'm
titties
like,
bouncing everywhere.
Titties everywhere. I'm like, your titties look good, but you mad. You need to calm down.
You got mad titties.
Your titties is mad right now. A lot of anger in them titties.
That's what academics.
I'm calling the cops, huh?
That's what academics. That fake tweet that came out.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mad titties.
But it was about a bad baby. But she was only like 16 at the time. But it was a fake account. Or no, he got hacked. He got hacked, and he said, "Dang, but she got some mad titties for 16-year-olds."
That's wild.
That was hilarious, yo. But yeah. I don't believe in yelling. I believe in conversations.
Yeah,
because it's like, I think what happens is, and this is not just women, but like as a man, if a woman's yelling at you, like furiously angry, you have to breathe, take a breath, and talk to her calmly. And the reason why is because you're going to end up saying some shit you don't really want to say.
She already did it.
Yep.
Might as well.
You know what, bitch? That's why you don't yell, man. You got to calm down. Yeah, you got to calm down, and you need to lead the conversation.
You'll say something very triggering.
Yeah, but you got to also understand that a lot of times when women be doing shit like that, it's coming from a traumatic space. Maybe they had an ex, or they had people, or the people they commonly have arguments or talk to, they be yelling back and forth. But yelling is not a form of communication. It is you're only displaying rage. And also, if you're yelling at me, at some point I start to feel like you don't respect me. If you don't respect me enough to talk to me in a respectful tone, then you got to go.
The thing, the cool part about, I was talking to my little brother about this too. He was saying, like, sometimes if you're a very chill person and that's not even your natural energy as far as yelling and all the rah-rah stuff, it may come off as you don't care.
Ooh.
So it's like
you better yell at me.
Yeah.
Why don't you yell at me?
Yeah.
I thought you loved me, Keith.
Yeah.
You don't yell at me.
Yeah. But
oh man, imagine if you just like a really laid back, quiet dude and you having sex and she's like, oh my God, just please yell at me. Yell at me. Like, roar. I'm so mad at you. Why are you whispering in my ear? I told you to yell at me. That's crazy. I think I don't believe this for all women, but I believe there are some women that genuinely believe that arguments are healthy for relationships.
Yeah.
They really believe
that's. I mean, I've heard that before. Yeah.
It's not. Arguments are not healthy at all. When discussions are healthy.
Yeah.
Not arguments. And arguments are people yelling. And what happens ultimately is, if it goes there, you're just trying to one up the person and offend them.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, I don't think it's cool to come back later and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you can't come back the
next
day.
Yeah, that thought about it. Yeah, that thought in your mind that you told me has been lingering in your mind for a while, and you unpacked it on me in a moment of rage, which means it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
There are two ways you know somebody is telling you the dead truth and how they feel about you. One of them is when they are in a moment of rage and they're yelling and screaming at you, or when they're intoxicated. If a person's intoxicated, they be saying wild shit like, you know what, like, I should have broke up with you a long time ago, but like, you're cool and I love you. But it's like, whoa, what's going on? And then you the next day you be like, do you know what you said to me? They be like, no, I was really drunk. It's like, oh no. Your ass got to go.
Yeah.
What's that dude, Bubba Dub? You got to go. Trash. Trash. All right, switching gears. Rihanna. This is one of the biggest stories as of recent. Rihanna is pregnant by rapper A$AP Rocky.
Congratulations
to Rihanna.
Yeah.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Congratulations to A$AP Rocky too.
Yeah. Shine bright like a diamond.
We're gonna throw some auto-tune on.
I am pregnant. Oh, you got to throw it on there. I am pregnant by A$AP Rocky. Yeah, shout out to them, man. They're both having their first child, which is very, that's
a
dope.
rare thing today to, two people in their 30, 33, I think, to be having their first child.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah, both in their 30s, early 30s. She's 34 or 33.
I think they're both 33, but I'm not sure.
I think that's a great age, man. I'll be honest. The reason why I say that is because you've gotten through a lot of life. You've had a lot of life experiences, whether you had the whole phases, you dealt with bad people, or you whatever the case, and now you finally find this person. And I really want to shout out Rihanna, and I want to shout her out because you could tell when women do things like this, it's almost like they've really waited for the right man with enough integrity to have a baby by. When a woman feels safe and secure enough, and I don't think it's about money. Rihanna has all the money she needs.
She's been with a billionaire.
She's been with a billionaire. She's a billionaire herself and was in a relationship with a billionaire and never got pregnant by him.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about A$AP Rocky. Maybe she feels safe with him, that he would be a actual good father.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out all the women out there that's in their late 20s or in their early to mid to late 30s that have not had kids. And there was a woman on TikTok that talked about like her situation. And she was like 37 or something. She had her first baby at 36. And she said, like, I'm actually very blessed that I waited. She said, I have a great job. My now husband, he has an amazing job. We have enough money to provide for our child and pay for all the child care. We have great insurance. All these things she talked about. She said, I'm so thankful that I did not have a kid in my earlier years in my 20s because I was too wild. She said I was financially unstable. And he said some of the men that I was dealing with was just trash. Ladies, take a page out of her book.
Yeah.
A lot of men are not worthy of being fathers. Stop getting pregnant by these motherfuckers. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to down men only because women make fucked up decisions too. But as a man, I'm just saying, stop allowing these dudes to get you pregnant. A lot of men cannot lead themselves. So they cannot lead a woman or a family. So stop getting pregnant by these bums.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now you got an issue because the dude, he done got 4 or 5 other women pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And now you got a dude that can't even be a father because he got to sleep. It's some dudes that's so sorry they got to use their dick as a form of currency. Sometimes a man's dick is the only thing that's going good for him.
I know there's a guy that I know personally that's his story. Like, all he got going for himself, or that was his insecurity. Like, I'm not a good person. I don't look that good, whatever. But I can sexually please a woman.
Yeah, that's sad though, man. If a woman is willing to sacrifice her integrity and everything just for some dick, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Now, let's be clear. Women are human too. They got needs. So if you just fucking somebody, you a grown woman, you could do that. But don't get pregnant by the motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
That's just straight up dumb. You have no support. And if you complain like it's so hard being a single mother, I get it. I get it. But you should have had a baby by a better man. And even if you are a single mother, if you have a man who is a great support system, it makes it a lot easier than a motherfucker that all he had going for him was dick.
Yeah.
Like,
or good looks.
This motherfucker don't even need a credit card. He got, instead of American Express, he got American dick. That's all he got going for him.
I hope this is an example for a lot of people out there. And it's not the, completely ideal, when we think about, the American family where they get married and then they have a child and all that. But just for like in a modern day's term to have waited till you in your 30s.
Yeah.
She done accomplished all she wants to out of life.
Yep.
A$AP Rocky has already been a uber successful, hip hop artist and stuff like that.
He's into fashion too.
Yeah, and they're both in a space in their life. And I mean, you can't tell everything from the outside of
Right.
people's relationships, but when we do see this situation, like we said, thinking about their age, thinking about how they revealed the pregnancy, thinking about that the fact that they had already had some sort of relationship before and they kind of double back when they were much more mature in life, thinking about the fact that Rihanna has dated a few different celebrities and athletes and stuff like that, and maybe it was a timing thing, maybe it was the person thing, but for whatever reason those people weren't good enough to be the father of her child. So I just think like this is hopefully a lot of the younger women out there that look up to her would take this as an example of taking your time to find that partner that you want to actually have.
And I heard some people saying some wild shit about ASAP Rocky, like, oh my God, why would she get pregnant by him? Like, all he gonna do is treat her wrong and cheat on her. That's what all these men do. And it's like, first of all, stop using your life experience as everyone else's. Second of all, you don't know what can happen to a man. I've seen what how they I guess that not idiom or term or whatever people use, like you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. That's a lie. That's a lie. There are a bunch of women I know back in college that was the biggest hoes that was fucking everybody, but they are great mothers now and great wives. Okay. Same thing with men. Men that was getting a bunch of pussy. There's some dudes that are pussy monsters, right? A guy like ASAP Rocky probably getting all the ass he wants. But here's the difference. When you get that one woman and you have that connection with her, you realize eventually you're not missing out on anything. You've had as much pussy as the eyes can see, but you got this woman in front of you that is awesome, and now she about to have your baby. The amount of responsibility that you may feel, you're like, I ain't never cheating on her. Like, I'm good. I'm done. I've had my experiences in life. I'm 30-some-year-old man. I've gotten as much pussy as the world can give me. I have something more powerful now. I have something more important. And I think that there are men that can embody that experience and not fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they've made men the most unloyal people ever, but the men that I know that I affiliate myself with don't be cheating on their wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could believe that ASAP Rocky could 100% be a faithful man and a father and whatnot.
Yeah. I think, and I who knows the terms of their relationship or the type of, things that they allow and don't allow in their relationship.
We don't know.
But, I mean, you got Rihanna, bro. Like, anybody could get cheated on. Halle Berry, Beyonce, all these people. But I just feel like if you double back and then you do end up having a child with a person, like, you don't want to screw that up.
No,
for some side chick or whatever. But I think it's ASAP Rocky needs a lot of credit too, because oftentimes dudes could end up having a baby with some scallywag that they don't even have a real relationship with. So just him even having the discipline to not have a child prior to this relationship is something to be applauded too. But yeah, it's a good thing, man. I hope everybody out there, the haters and whatever, like, y'all just gotta eat your words. I think they have a beautiful thing going, and hopefully this is they could be like the next example of a good relationship out there, because we see too, especially on the back of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, on Instagram communicating with each other. They're arguing about their child on TikTok, and you just see like the worst of the worst.
That's
but
terrible.
I think it's just good to see like really good solid relationships.
Yeah, Kanye was saying all kind of fucked up shit about Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think he cares.
He might care, but Pete Davidson eating ass. He ain't really worried. He ain't worried. I think every time Kanye say something bad about Pete Davidson going right over there to fuck Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, but it's Kanye West though. Like, he is he's a very powerful person.
He is, but he needs to do something about those boots. Fuck.
He hasn't taken them off.
Take them off, nigga. Fuck. Take those goddamn boots off, man.
Yeah.
Those are some giant boots. I bet
they're just disgusting.
They look like they stank.
Yeah.
Like, he take them off and they just stank. Like, Kanye, you think you want to change those boots? I am a god. I don't need to change my boots. Like, nigga, if you don't shut your crazy ass up. I am Da Vinci. I am Leonardo DiCaprio. He was throwing out all these names that nobody knew what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8 years ago, niggas did not know these names.
Yeah, he's like, the Medici brothers. Who the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah, even Elon Musk, we did
Walt
not really
Disney.
know who he was. We knew who Walt Disney was. That's when we was like, okay, Kanye, I hear you. Everybody else is like, nah, I don't know.
Nestle Crunch. We know who you are, Nestle. Oh, man.
This was a wild. It was a wild screenshot that he showed where Kim Kardashian's cousin had texted him basically saying, like, I'm on your side. I don't think that North should be on TikTok, especially going live and stuff like that. And then the next one, I think he said something like, I appreciate, all your sentiments. Thank you or whatever. And then the next message under that was like, hey, I was trying to buy some Yeezys on Stock Exchange. I was wondering if this is like a good place to go. And then he was like, respectfully, do not mention like my shoes in this conversation. So
my gosh, she was just trying to coerce him into getting some shoes.
That's wild.
I hope she wasn't trying to get them fucking boots he had on.
She was trying to get some Yeezys.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Kanye is like a character now.
It's so unfortunate. Kanye West is like one of the greatest musicians ever to walk this earth, but he's just kind of being dwindled down into this TMZ.
Kanye West is dressed like a boss on a video game. Like when you beat all the bad guys, and now at the end you got to fight Kanye with those boots.
Yeah.
Oh man, he is dressed like the boss from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I was thinking that in my head right now.
They should just put Kanye in fucking Sonic. Oh, that movie's coming out soon.
Yeah, part 2.
I didn't even see the first one.
I haven't seen the first one either, but I seen the trailer for the second one, and it got Knuckles in it. That mug look fire.
Really?
Yeah.
I just hate what they really did. Like, I'm used to it being a cartoon, and they made Sonic look kind of weird.
What you mean?
They just made Sonic look weird. Like, the way they had him looking. Like, I don't know.
He looked fine to me. They did have him weird originally, but they redesigned
him. That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they redesigned him.
Yeah, that first one.
That's so crazy. Like, that. First of all, it's extremely expensive to animate anything. Yeah. But for them to go back and then it ended up working out, I think that's like, I always try to find these like little stories and find the thematic lessons in there. But for them to like put out a whole entire product, the people didn't like it. They was trending on Twitter, and then they was like, hey guys, we heard you, we're going to go back and redesign it, and then double back, make a successful movie enough to make a part 2, and now the part 2 looks like it's going to be better than the first one.
Yeah, the one I seen he looked decent in now. So the first one, that shit looked crazy though.
Yeah, it looked really weird.
I was like, this nigga Sonic the Hedgehog is on meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sonic was looking like he was on some perk 30s.
That nigga in the studio with Future.
Percocet, Molly Percocet, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm a motherfucking bitch. Yo, Future just like at some point he just start mumbling. He be like, I'm bunning stomach, bunning the shimmer that cut. Oh yeah, I'm gonna send them Sean bunning yeah. I'm like, bro, I have no idea what you saying.
I seen the most funny video. There was a guy, he does these I wish I knew his name.
He put up only half his face.
No, it wasn't that. He was reacting to the XXL cipher with
you sent that to me.
Yeah,
it was with Designer
and Lil Dicky and Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, Anderson .Paak's verse was so trash, bro.
It was terrible.
Oh my god,
he was just saying sentences.
He's like, that's right, yes Lord. Like, shut the fuck up.
And she got a fat ass, yes Lord. Yes. Dr. Dre signed me. Yes, Lord.
That's when he had that big cracked tooth in the front, too. Oh, man.
But his reaction to Designer just mumbling was hilarious, man.
Because Designer was just making sound effects.
He wasn't.
I'm gonna give it all this.
And I'm just quoting him, so don't cancel me for this.
Yeah.
But he stopped and like designer was like, and he just paused it and he was like, bro, I really think designer is retarded.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That shit had me dying, bro. Cause designer be doing X, be like, Kia. I've never seen a human being do that.
I don't even know how he makes that sound.
Bro, the shit I see on TikTok be killing me. There's this dude, I don't follow him, but like he basically posts like you know how like Chinese food comes in that white box with the open lid? Mm-hmm. It's this dude that I guess he gets like Chinese food or whatever, and he like grabs the lid, like grabs it and he opens it up, and then he puts the camera towards his face and he like yells like, "Raw!" Right? And somebody was like, "This nigga ain't human." Oh man, I was crying.
Man.
Oh, bro, TikTok is. Oh, bro, you got to be careful. You will get sucked into TikTok, bro.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be swiping through, and what's funny is the way my algorithm works. Me and Keith almost might have the same algorithm because he'll send me some shit that I already seen.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Mm-hmm. And but with me, bro, I just be dying like scrolling through there, and what's bad is when it's late and I'm supposed to be going to bed, and then each time I keep swiping, the next TikTok is funnier than the last one.
Yeah, whoever wrote the algorithm, I just want to give you a hug,
bruh,
because that mug be on point.
Recently, you just sent me. It was like because we don't follow like the like half naked thought freaking twerking people.
They pop up on the lives.
They pop up on the lives though, and this girl, I guess this girl was getting fucked on live. But she like you can only see half her body. You just hear like
her titties is just like
you hear like a smacking noise.
Yeah,
and it's real low. And she's like,
he has some music playing in the background.
Yeah,
and
it's like, and then Keith had sent it to me, but I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it, and it's a live video, and this girl's like, I guess she's in the process of bouncing or getting hit. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, why is this shit on here?
How is this even legal?
How is this even legally on TikTok? They got to get this shit off of there.
Yeah, it looked like if anybody knows the D'Angelo video where people assume that he was probably getting head during the video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's wild. They got to fix that.
Yeah, they got to get that shit out of there. All right, switching gears. Fresh and Fit podcast. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically a platform with these two guys that talk about, it's two guys that talk about the subject of women and woman nature and all of these things, and talk about being an alpha male and the red pill theory or the manosphere, right? And here's the thing. I don't totally discredit people, so I will say this. I feel like all of their information is not bad. I feel like a lot of it, a lot of what they talk about is, valuing yourself, or they talk about fitness, getting in shape, having value. But to me, a lot of their ideology is woman hate, though. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. It's very woman hatey.
Woman hatey.
The reason why I say that is because the type of women they have on that platform are trash. They get a bunch of women that's like on OnlyFans or strippers. They never get women with integrity to be on that platform. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand that although there are some women that are cutthroat that ain't no good, like when you have a platform that's pretty much designed to have these low dwelling women on your platform, it's not really helping the young men that subscribe to you. And the thing about it, what I get from them is this. What I get from Fresh and Fit podcast is they were men that were rejected a lot. They probably got treated like shit by women, and now they have this platform, and they just be wilding. Because I've heard some shit they said, and I'm like, come on, this is not cool.
Yeah, they mentioned that, though. They mentioned that, they weren't getting women, at a certain point in their life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the end of the day, what you need to understand, though, is like, even if you're not getting with women like that, like, you need to work with the reality that women don't owe you shit. And that's cool. And if they're not fucking with you, cool. Just work on yourself, work on bettering yourself. And what you do is you give yourself a better chance at getting the woman you want when you stay focused on your life and bringing value to yourself. That's the best advice that you can give. Now, let's be very clear. Now, for me, there have been times I've learned from pain. I've learned from women dogging me out, and I learned from being a simp. and doing more for women than they did for me. And I've learned about women through many different ways, but I don't hate women because I know they're not all like that. But with this platform, I think it's doing a bad job because they're galvanizing the wrong men. They're galvanizing young men that are learning to hate women, and they're using these social platforms, and it's making men and women hate each other. Women are using certain platforms and music and shit to hate men, and it's men hating. It's like a reaction to one another. And it's like with women, they got this hot girl, what was it, City Girls, get his money and
Hot Girl Summer and all that.
Yeah, get his money and leave him, and they gonna use you, girl. You might as well use them. And it's like there are women that literally buy into this ideology and say, hey, I'm gonna use men because they want to use me. And it's like the problem ultimately is the energy. Your energy is fucked up. If you think that men want to use you, that's your problem. And the thing about it, if you're cognizant enough of yourself and your energy, you wouldn't even deal with men like that. But it's the fact that men and women are so stupid, they hate each other, and now they start these platforms, and you got guys like Dude Fresh and whatever the dude's name is. These dudes, they don't talk about how it's okay to love a woman. They don't talk about how eventually this game that you playing gonna stop. Like the shit that they telling young men, it probably can help you get pussy. I'm sure it will. I'm sure your chances of getting more pussy is gonna go up. But when you finally find a woman that you love and you want to be with, it's not gonna work no more. You're just gonna be this dude using these toxic traits on a good woman, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah, I think that just the idea of and I think I don't know how old these guys are. They're in their 30s at least, right?
I think they are. I think they're
late 20s, 30s, whatever the case may be. That game is very tiring.
Yes.
I think if they try to, if they were much younger, I would, think that their lessons were, much more palatable, I guess. But these are people that they're trying to preach this young men's game almost after living, they have a second shot at life in a sense. Because maybe when they were a little bit younger in their early 20s and their late teens, they probably weren't they weren't as popular or famous as they are now, so they don't have the reach or the resources to get these type of women, and two, it just didn't work out for them. So I think for them to be preaching this message, and one is just kind of it's just sick. And I think that a message that we speak about as far as interacting with women or getting women is much more realistic, and it's much and it's just better for your mental health. These are guys that are, the way they even speak about women, I tell a woman exactly what I want. I'm just playing the odds, and these, and then even the type of women that they are bringing on their platform. They're bringing on these OnlyFans, women with OnlyFans, and it'll be 5 or 6 of them, and they are not the most well-spoken women a lot of times. And these are guys that they know they can take advantage of these women because they have a platform, they have money, they have a certain level of power, and so these women might be in awe, and they might be just glad to be given a platform. And I just think that when it comes to I just wish that we can change the dynamics of how we interact with the people you're attracted to. I think that after you get out of your early 20s and stuff, the idea of games should just go away. I think when you start to get in your late 20s and 30s, you probably want to settle down, and those games that you were playing in your early 20s, it just don't work. I think something that's much better for trying to build real relationships is, one, working on yourself. The first and foremost, you need to work on yourself. Don't be trying to holler at every single woman that's that's in your vicinity on your on your social media if you haven't even put the work in on yourself.
Right. That's true.
I think you also need to get rid of this idea of game. Like when it comes to like meeting women, interacting with women, I think there should be an organic way that you just kind of communicate, whether it's, you know, you have common interest or, you know, you find interest in something that they're doing, or, you know, you mention it all the time. Like if you in a store and a woman is getting some cereal or something, you may, you know, crack a little joke here like, oh, that's my favorite cereal, or I used to eat that back in the day, but it put me on the toilet, or whatever the case may be. And
I wouldn't leave with that much.
Yeah, but but I just think like, you know, I think like when you start to get a little bit older, you are looking for something that just resonates with you a little bit more. And I think that the game that they're playing is just such a young man's game. And I think it's also dangerous for, you know, a guy like that is, you know, like our peers trying to or they're watching this podcast and they're trying to adopt that mentality at 35, 36 years old. It's like, bro, you're going to live a terrible life trying to do this, you know, in your 30s.
Yeah, I think those girls that come on this show, I don't think that they're just in awe. They probably could be, but more or less, they talk about women using men, but they're using you. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to bring more attention to their OnlyFans platform.
Yeah.
So it's like these women don't give a fuck about you talking bad about them. They making money off y'all.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there'll be people following them afterwards.
Here's the thing. I look at them as simps with power. That's all they is.
Yeah.
They basically simps with power. They are disgruntled simps. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to shit on Fresh and Fit, but I mean, there's a certain stuff that's just trash. The fact that they yell and scream into the microphone, calling women bitches and shit. Mm-hmm. I'm not with that, man. I ain't with that. And also, what people don't realize is part of being a man or having more value as a man is actually respecting women. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because if you have value, let me go ahead and backtrack real quick. I'll come back to this. But you talked about game earlier. Game is dead. You should not have game. You should have value. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. Value is the new game. If you're a person that's well-spoken, you smell good, you got a nice smile, you know, whatever the case, you've worked on yourself, you make a decent amount of money. When you display interest in a woman and it's organic, like you mentioned at the store, right? Mm-hmm. If you see a woman at the store with some cereal or some shit or whatever she has, you'd be like, oh, that cereal is bomb. I just got that last week. When she doesn't engage with you in a conversation, she's very short-ended, leave her alone. Move on. Mm-hmm. Right? She does not like you. I feel like it's more organic when I can try to start a small conversation instead of saying, hey, I think you're beautiful. My name is Eddie. That's played out. Mm-hmm. That shit don't work no more. Mm-hmm. Women are overly validated in today's society. They wake up to good morning texts from dudes that don't even like them. They just want to fuck.
That's wild.
It's the truth. Women wake up to a bunch of good morning texts. They wake up to a bunch of inboxes in they thing. There was this dude that created a fake profile as a pretty girl. He created a fake profile, and he had so many messages in his shit. He's like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It was so many men that were in the inbox. And this is what a lot of women go through. And I just don't think that you walking up to a woman telling her she's beautiful is going to work. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I don't the freaking what do you call it? The compliments don't start coming until I really have a reason to tell you something kind. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't lead with, because when men lead with compliments, it's kind of disingenuous. It's like I'm giving you a compliment in hopes that you like me. Yeah, that's not a genuine thing to do.
Yeah. There's you're doing it with an intention.
Yeah, I didn't walk over here and tell you. I'm not like when a man walks up and tells you you're beautiful. It could mean anything. Mm-hmm. He probably walked up because you had a really big booty, and your booty is so big that he can't believe it. And you might not be all that beautiful, but he wants your booty. Mm-hmm. That's all that's really going on.
Yeah, that's cold.
I've seen dudes walk up to girls and be like, and I've heard this before, so I'm just gonna be very, very honest. They'd be like, man, she kind of ugly, but she got a big booty. Like, hey, girl, you so beautiful.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, thank you. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Not knowing that this motherfucker just going over there because she got ass.
Yeah. A fat ass will turn a 5 into a dime.
Man, we don't got that luxury for us.
Yeah, what is it? I don't know if a guy
like being ugly with a big dick don't work.
Yeah, because you don't see it outside of, you have to make it that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta, before you know what's going on down there, you gotta get into the bedroom.
Yeah,
you're gonna get it there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I take that back. I think the heir apparent to a woman that's funny looking with a big booty is probably an ugly dude with a lot of money.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think that'll do it.
Yeah, I think
that'll
that
do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I think I'm very curious to see how like money changes the people around us. You know, not that I'm like hoping that we have these weird people coming around, but I'm just curious to know like, what that feels like the cousins or the amount of women in the DMs and all this different stuff. I'm just curious to know like what that looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. It changes people like a motherfucker. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's for damn sure. But I will say this too, though. I think when they talk about value, or I've heard them say things like sex is not for a woman's pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Like sex is for a man's pleasure. It's not for women. And I'm like, dog, that's wild to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like women just supposed to be out. Women, first of all, women don't even be coming like that.
Mm-hmm.
Women could go their life only coming a few times during sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like the numbers are out there. Like if you're dealing with a woman and that's your lady, bro, and I'm not trying to be like super graphic, but you need to be doing something else, man.
Yeah.
If you having sex with a chick and she is not coming at all, your value, you can't be acting like I'm this alpha male and your girl ain't even coming.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't eating no types of pussy. DJ Khaled said, "Yeah, man, I don't do that."
DJ Khaled is, I don't
like, bro, you fat. So all you doing is probably busting off fast, and now you just lay there fat.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine having sex with DJ Khaled, and he fat, and he ain't eating no pussy. And he probably busting 2 minutes. We the best. And lay his fat ass down. Better go eat some pussy, man. Stop playing around. Because the thing about it is like if you understand the science behind women's bodies, you know that a lot of them don't come through, they don't come through just sex.
DJ Khaled also has a poor diet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, eating pussy can't be no worse than the food you be consuming. That nigga eating all kind of hamburgers.
Yeah, you just ate caviar. You can't eat no pussy. Oh, man, that's wild, yo. I just think a lot of men have a very skewed view of what masculinity is and what it is to be actually a high-value man.
This is like this, there's this, like this hyper, or this extremist reaction to.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
It's like the film or the movie where the kid was bullied as a child,
right,
and then he turns into the supervillain or something like that.
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It is an extremist reaction, and women have the same extremist reaction where you better use him before he use you, and it's like. Yeah. This is not real, folks.
Yeah. Stop. There's a lot of like really good women, a lot of really good guys out here that don't fall into these extreme.
It's nuts.
views.
I've even seen women use acting mean as a defense mechanism. And then once you get that guard down, they just like a fucking pussycat.
Yeah.
The really kind, really nice girls that act mean because they use it as a defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. And I'll call women out when they do it. I'll be like, hey, I know you're acting mean, but I think you're a really cool person.
Yeah.
And then I'll laugh, and they'll start laughing, and they'll feel more comfortable with me because I'm like politely calling you on your shit without being a dick about it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like women have developed these traits, men have developed these traits, and it's very toxic, and it's very childlike, and it needs to stop. Mm-hmm. And it's grown people doing it. Yeah, people my age and older acting like this, bro.
If you ever see that podcast, you realize it's a bunch of niggas with ones on their head because their hairline is receding and they trying to hang on so they edge up, and they may begin to spray,
let me tell you this too, and there's a lot of insecurities with that one dude. I forgot his name, the one that has the receding hairline in the back of his head. If you're such a high value man, why are you insecure? You're holding on the hair that's trying to fucking leave. That's very insecure. Just shave your fucking hair. Yeah. Shave it off. Mm-hmm. If you're such a high value man, look, at the end of the day, my hairline's fucking gone. It's been gone for years. But like, I just cut my hair off because I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. But I see these dudes up there talking about how high value they are, and you know, there's some men that have a lot of insecurity. Look, LeBron James, one of the best basketball players ever. His hair is fucked up. Fucked up. And you know he has a lot of insecurities. His hair was falling out during a game. You see that? Mm-mm. Dude, he had a piece of his hair falling out during the game, and fucking AD was like, yo, your hair coming out. You didn't see that shit?
No.
Bro, go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. His hair was coming out during the fucking game, yo. AD was like, yo, your hair coming out. I was like, yo, LeBron went for a layup, but his hair didn't lay up. That shit came straight out. Do you see it? Just put like LeBron James' hair comes out during the game.
Nah, I'm still broke, y'all. I got the ads.
Man, I should have used mine. I got YouTube Red. They trying to sell you shit every 5 minutes on there if you don't got that fucking Red.
Oh, this is.
Oh God! Just put LeBron's hair comes out during the game. You know
that's what I put.
Oh, what did
but
it put?
It's just pictures. It's not a video.
Oh, it's just pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked up. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways. What's it showing?
It's a video now.
You see AD? The person's watching it live laughing?
Yeah.
I don't want to bore the people with dead air. What?
Oh, whatever.
You see
LeBron
it?
James hair. Yeah. But yeah, I just think these like fresh and fit guys. I would suggest any man out there that is like, you know, trying to search for the know-how or the wherewithal to communicate with women to stay away from this toxic. People in general. I think that, you know, that the way that they speak about women is not real. It's from a standpoint of like, I think there's an era in your life where you may be able to adhere to some of the stuff that they speak about. Maybe when you're in college, maybe 21. When you're fresh out of high school, something like that. But as a grown man, you gotta focus on one, yourself. You gotta focus on you know, your mental health, your pocketbook. And then also we have to just interact with women in a more, I won't call it a professional way, but a more organic and a natural way.
A more mature way.
Yeah, we don't have to be out here trying to like holler at every single girl that you see on Instagram or sliding in every woman's DMs or hollering at every girl that walks by you on the street. Like, just live your life. And I think what we have to lean on too is just the law of attraction. Like, you know, when you working on yourself, you bettering yourself, you making more money, you working out, you hitting the gym and stuff like that. These type of interactions are just going to naturally come your way.
They will, 100%.
You may find your wife grocery shopping. You may find your wife at the gym. You may find, you know, a girlfriend in, you know, just, you know, anywhere where you're actually working on yourself. So,
right.
I think that's what we got to start doing.
I think that your world and your life experience should allow you to determine who's decent and who's not. I think if you're in your 30s and you don't know which women are trying to use you or which woman is lying or which woman doing this, if you don't know that by this age, then your maturity is the problem at that point.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, you should have somewhat of a fucking idea instead of just generalizing all women is trying to use you or women thinking that every dude is trying to fucking treat them like dirt. Your maturity is the problem in that case. So yeah, you just gotta grow up, man. Stop.
I think sometimes like we have to stop generalizing groups or genders and look inward and think about like what are we doing to attract these type of people.
100%.
You know, if you're a woman on Instagram and you got booty pics across your timeline, and you're only getting dudes that want to have sex with you, then you might want to assess like the content that you're putting.
You're leading with sex. And I think that there are men that do comparable things where they're leading with the idea of money. leading with the idea of a better life. I see dudes on the internet, man, they'll be like, just got my new car. I'm trying to figure out what truck I get. Should I get a red one or a new one or a green one? Like, should I get the 2022 or should I get a Lamborghini? And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. We know what you're doing. You're trying to get people to believe this perceived idea of who you are. And you're trying to attract this energy. Don't you dare talk about women trying to use you and your punk ass is on the internet asking people what kind of Corvette you should buy. You knew what the fuck you were doing, bro.
Yeah.
The same way the girl with them big old titties, she was like, oh my God, it's such a hot day. You don't care that it's a hot day. You just want to show your titties. You think we stupid? We can't see it?
I feel like it's not that hard to find like a gold digger or something like that.
That's very easy to find.
It's
too easy.
Or to point out, I would say not to find. But it's like I feel like, no matter how successful you are, there is going to be a certain amount of women that could just like you for who you are, because you're also going to meet women that are also very successful in their own right, and they don't need your money in any way, shape, or forms.
Nah, but the only problem with some women that are successful is women do want to date up or they want to date across. So some women have an issue if they make, let's say a woman can make like $150,000 in a year. If you only make $85,000 to $90,000, they might feel like they dating down, because sometimes people, even if they're decent, sometimes some people have a skewed view of the world when they become successful. Yeah. They start thinking everybody like that, or they should be like that, but that's not how the world works. Anyway.
Not Rihanna, though. Shout out to Rihanna.
Shout out to Rihanna, man. Rihanna, yeah, Rihanna's the star of that relationship. Yeah. Rihanna's baby gonna be like, daddy and mommy, but she just talking to Rihanna. No, when she talked to ASAP, she'd be like, pretty boy Flacco.
Flacco
Jordy. All right, switching gears. Brian Flores suing the NFL. Recently, coach of the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores, sued the NFL due to racial discrimination or potential racial discrimination for his job. What the fuck? Where's the goddamn article that I had? Oh my goodness. That's what I hate about this fucking phone. Brian Flores. Here we go. Okay. Hold on. Gee, now they've updated the story to Mike McDaniel and the story going around about him. What the fuck? This is so stupid. They took away all the articles.
Why don't you share the article in your notes?
The what?
Why don't you copy the article into your notes?
Because it's too much.
It's just a link, though.
Oh, you're right. What I do is I copy it on the internet and I highlight it with a star, so I can just open it up. But that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Rolling with the okay. Anyways, basically, because I'm having a problem finding this information. But the story around the league right now is Brian Flores it's 3 teams that he's basically having the racial discrimination lawsuit against, and it's the Broncos, Miami, and what's the other team? Texans, I think.
The Texans or Giants?
Giants, my bad. The Giants. And these 3 teams. And basically what's going on is he spoke about, having a meeting with the Broncos to get a job and how he wasn't taken seriously. And there's a rule called the Rooney Rule that was implemented in 2003 to make sure that black coaches were getting a fair shake when they go to do these interviews. And I think
it was so they can actually get an interview.
To get an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say getting a fair shake at the interview. But just to get the interview.
Yeah.
I think that's sad in itself in 2003, which wasn't that long ago. I graduated in 2003. And people will say like, oh, well, I don't see the big deal. There's no racial injustice. There's no problems, blah, blah, blah. With Brian Flores, he spoke about his specific situation. He said that the owner told him to tank the season so they could get a higher draft pick. He told him he would pay him $100,000 a game to do that. And Brian Flores just decided like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you serious? And also, like, in the interview with Denver, they just got him in there for the Rooney Rule, just to use him as a number. And he felt that they didn't take him seriously because he said that John Elway and another person that was in that interview, both were intoxicated.
And they showed up late.
And they showed up an hour late. So my thing is this. I've seen a lot of people that said, like, man, like, what's up with these black coaches coming out just lying about this stuff? And I thought to myself, why would you assume that they're just lying?
Mm-hmm.
Have you not done, like, why? This is the problem that I have with a lot of people. I didn't come out and say, man, Brian Flores, like everybody racist, I'm with Brian Flores. I didn't say that. Mm-hmm. What I said initially is like, yo, this is crazy. I wonder how this is going to turn out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm basically waiting for more information, right? But there are people who are going out on a limb and they're like, yo, what's up with these black coaches lying? Yeah. And it's sad. And what that tells you, there is a racial undertone to that. Why? What's the rationale when you say that? Mm-hmm. Is the rationale that these black coaches are just mad because they're not getting the jobs and they're retaliating? Are you serious? Is that the rationale? Mm-hmm. Is that what you believe? Because that's a bullshit statement. Yeah. The reason why the Rooney Rule exists in the first place is because they wasn't hiring black coaches. They was firing them fast too. Mm-hmm. Firing them fast. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately a lot of black coaches just want the same opportunity to be horrible just like the white coaches. Because there's some coaches that's white that suck.
It's trash.
And they be around. Jeff Fisher was fucking terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, being black, if you have a losing season, they're going to fire your ass. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, God damn. And Brian.
Yeah. Who was that? I think the Chargers coach got out of there pretty quick.
Yeah, Lynn. Mm-hmm. But Lynn is now with the Niners.
Yeah.
As an offensive coordinator. Yeah, but he'll be an offensive coordinator now because we just lost Mike McDaniel. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about Mike McDaniel, the 49ers offensive coordinator, is he just got a job with the Dolphins, mm-hmm. right? But here's the thing. He just got a job with the Dolphins, and Deadspin wrote a hit article against the Dolphins, mm-hmm. stating that here the Dolphins go again, hiring a white man instead of giving a black man a chance to get the job. Mm-hmm. But here's the funny part. Mike McDaniel is biracial. He's actually black.
That's crazy.
He just looks like Logic, but he's black.
Yeah.
And they had to end up like recanting it. But there are two things that are true. It's true that black coaches are not getting a fair shake. And it's also true that people are hoping that this can happen so they could really push this narrative of race. And the problem with race nowadays is it has become so exhausting because there are people that throw the race card out when it's not legit. Mm-hmm. And now we get situations where black people or anyone is being treated wrong and no one takes it serious because mm-hmm. they have drained the race card so much. Mm-hmm. There are really people being racially discriminated against. That's a real fucking issue in the league. Black coaches don't get it's a bunch of great assistant black coaches that ain't getting no jobs.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And people will say, well, you know, Eddie and Keith are speaking as black men. You know, I mean, of course they would be offended. No, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. I'm offended that the best coaches ain't getting the jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying black coaches are the best coaches. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want the best black coaches to get a job. Keyword, best black coaches. Not some unprepared, sorry black coach just because he's black, he should get a job. Mm-hmm. I never stated that. I want the best candidate that happens to be black to get the opportunity to get the job. And it ain't happening.
Yeah.
It's fucked
He even
up.
said that Bill Belichick accidentally texted him.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the new job. You know, but he sent the text to the wrong Brian.
Yeah, he sent it to Brian Dayball instead of to Brian. Mm-hmm. He meant to send it to Brian Dayball. So he fucked up. He congratulated.
But they hadn't even announced the job yet. So that was the issue with that.
They haven't even announced the interview, nothing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, damn, it's just a good old boys club.
Yeah, man.
And they talked about nepotism at that position too. And they talked about Kyle Shanahan and other people that are getting these jobs. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it though, I actually like Kyle Shanahan. So I don't want to say like it was just, and nepotism isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes nepotism is, I mean, like, yo, if you was a father and you wanted to get your son a good, decent opportunity, you would do it too.
Yeah, nepotism, in my opinion, is only bad when I'm on the other side of not getting a job. If I'm getting a job, I'm like, yeah.
Then you don't get the job, you're going to lie. They call me a nigger.
If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I am not complaining about nepotism at all. But also, like, Kyle Shanahan is a good coach. Yes. So you know, if it came down to, you know, sometimes we play football and the coach's son is a quarterback when actually the guy behind him is way better, that's when it starts to become an issue. But
yeah, man. I think this whole, and then there's other black coaches that came out. I think Tony Dungy had a conversation. There was a couple, I forgot the other. There's like a few other black coaches that mentioned not having a fair shake. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is people that, I think people that already feel how they feel are going to say what they want to say. Oh my God, everything's about race. And these black coaches are just bitter that they're not getting the job. And it's like, bro, just please come out and just say you racist, man.
Do you think, because D'Amico Ryan, he was interviewing for the Vikings job. Do you think he probably took a step back because he knew all of this was coming?
Maybe
around?
multiple things are true. I honestly believe this. I think if D'Amico Ryans wanted that job, he would have got that job. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about
He's a great coordinator.
He's a great defensive coordinator. Yeah. Really good. I think he literally would have got a head coaching job. Mm-hmm. Right? Regardless of him being black, whatever, he would have totally got one. Before this whole Brian Flores shit went on, I really thought that we would not have D'Amico Ryans back because that's how good he was. Mm-hmm. But I honestly think though too, there could be multiple things could be true. We don't know. I don't want to get conspiratorial, but maybe D'Amico Ryans did not want the NFL using him as we hired a black. We hired a black right there.
Yeah, and you never. I mean, obviously, like I would hope in some way, shape, or form, like these Brian Flores is working with different coaches, black coaches, and he said he has spoke to a lot of different black coaches, and obviously these names are going to start coming up in in the court case and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'd be curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. This has been going on for a while. My thing, honestly, when stories like this happen, is I've seen a lot of black folks that were basically saying like, this is discrimination, this is that, blah 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 blah. Even people that don't really frequent football, right? They were just like, oh, this is going on. I feel like it's okay, but you never want your emotions to lead like your you don't want them to be in the lead of what like your rational thinking is. Mm-hmm. I think it's sometimes as black folks or just anybody for that matter, whether you're black, Latino, or if you're a person that happens to be short, whatever it is, when someone looks like your situation is comparable to yours and something happens to those people, usually you go into support for those people. But you need to take a step back and say, hey, and the things that I am supporting or what I'm trying to do, like, have I put enough thought behind it? Because here's the thing. Let's backtrack all the way to Jesse Smollett. Mm-hmm. And we thought about like what was going on and how me and you rationalized like, yo, it's a little bit weird that he was in the winter cold going to Subway.
Yeah.
And he kept the noose on his neck when the police got there. Mm-hmm. And then he called himself the gay Tupac. Me and you was like, we wasn't like this is wrong and that people need to be arrested and this and that. Mm-hmm. We more or less talked about it in the sense of like, man, this is crazy. If everything lines up, this is wrong. But it wasn't we didn't make any definite statements.
He wasn't on my timeline.
No,
people was posting pictures of him.
Yeah. He wasn't on my timeline. I didn't post him on my fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
But then turned out his ass was lying. Mm-hmm. So I don't let anybody make a fool of me. But the reason why I could get behind this situation is because there's some information that's incriminating on the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And what I will say too is a lot of times as black people, no one could ever quantify our experience as black people. So what I do is I'm hoping that he has enough information to like not so much he has enough information for everyone to see that things are really going on.
But the thing is like that in my opinion, that don't even matter because people are primarily set in their ways.
That's true.
And then also they're probably just going to settle. And that's the unfortunate part about this thing. So they're going to settle. It's going to be an NDA sign where he may not be able to speak about the situation afterwards. They're going to settle for an undisclosed amount, and he probably will ride off into the sunset, and none of the information ever comes out.
Yeah, NDAs.
Yeah. So, but the thing about it, like outside of race or anything like that, the whole concussion thing has nothing to do with race. And the NFL still tiptoes around that subject matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though there are people that we know has CTE. And, people are committing suicide. They're, abusing their wives, all these different crazy things that we know are a byproduct of head trauma. and head trauma from playing football, and the NFL still wants to, smile and giggle and put these, we're doing, these things to promote safety, and we change the design of helmets and all these different things, but they won't even admit it. So when I'm thinking about the NFL in that term, or in those terms, I could see, outside of race, I could see how the NFL is lying about this.
100% definitely lying. But look, you got to understand, the only reason why they make any changes to anything is for liability purposes. Mm-hmm. They want people to see that we've made strides to help our NFL players with these concussions, and we've made this. And now the most latest thing is, in the back of the end zone, end racism. It takes all of us. Man, you motherfuckers ain't care about no racism until Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
Yeah.
You didn't care even then. Mm-hmm. Until he and then here's the funny thing. Then Kaepernick basically afterwards get blackballed from the league, and now you got end racism, and it takes all of us. Y'all don't care about no racism, bro.
Yeah, I don't care.
Y'all care. The only thing they care about is green money. That's it.
These are old wealthy white men. They don't care about.
They don't give a fuck about none of that shit, man. Mm-hmm. Don't nobody care. And people say, like, why is it such a point of emphasis to highlight that they're white? I mean, they're just successful owners of businesses. What people need to understand is this. There's a deep historical context that goes down with ownership of massive corporations in America. And due to the suppression, the intentional suppression of black wealth in America, there are a lot of people of color that did not get opportunities to own these massive conglomerates and businesses. And it's not a coincidence that these owners of places happen to be white. Mm-hmm. Billionaires, and they have panels of other billionaires that own these teams. Mm-hmm. And me, I would never speak poorly of someone because they're successful. I just think that you also need to answer, like, yo, why has every president of the United States been white? Mm-hmm. We have one president that was black.
Half a president.
We had basically, he was diet black. he was diet Dr. Pepper black. Okay. But think about this. Imagine how it feels to be a person that's a part of this institution, I guess you could say, or a part of these teams, and everybody in the upper crust of the business is all white. And this is across the league. Mm-hmm. There's no people that look like me and Keith in these buildings. Now, the rationale of people, they just need to work harder. They just need to work harder and be smarter. If they were smarter, they would get the jobs. That is subliminal racism. Mm-hmm. That's making an implication that black people stupid, and that's why they can't get ownership to places. Yeah. If that's how you think, then just admit that you're racist. But there's tons. I'll get right with you.
Right.
There are tons of able people that happen to be of color that have money that can own teams, but they don't. Yeah. Because there is an antiquated way of business being done in the NFL. Now, I'm not one of the people that would be like crying and kicking and screaming like, please let us get ownership. We black people, I'm not on that shit either. Mm-hmm. I just think eventually there will be black ownership, but in certain businesses. But I mean, I guess that shit'll take time. What I'll say, one last thing before I hand it to Keith, is when you talk about racial inequality and race problems, the biggest issue that we have is black people had to worry about race a lot, and white people don't have to talk about it or think about it. Mm-hmm. Because it's not white people's fault. But in modern society, they don't get it. They've been the gold standard in America since its inception. They've never had to worry about where they were sitting on the bus. They never had to worry about going to this bathroom. They never had to worry about not being able to use their GI Bill as a soldier who fought for America. Black men fought in American wars and couldn't even properly get proper education when they got back. They couldn't use their GI Bill. This is a fact. So there's been a suppression of wealth. Not to mention, I'm 36 years of age. My dad just turned 63, and he was born into a segregated America. Think about that. I am 36 years old, and my father couldn't drink out the same faucet as yours. Go ahead and carry on, Keith.
Yeah. The thing about it with the NFL and black ownership, one, it's like there's only 32 teams. So it's not like there's this huge pool of, opportunity for, black people to even get in there. If it's and primarily the teams stay in the family. like Genie Bus, I can imagine them just selling the team just randomly. It's probably going to get passed down through generations, whether it's sons, nieces, nephews, uncles, or something like that. So same thing with the NFL. I think the last team that was up for sale was the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. I think that there was a bunch of people like Diddy and Steph Curry and a bunch of other people trying to put some money together to get in the running for it. But it NFL teams just don't sell that often. So it's going to be hard for any of us to get in there. It's just like the good old boys club. It's just a bunch of people that are just like, if I say this podcast is some sort of business that happens to be on autopilot, I'm not just going to, when I do get 60, 70 years old, I'm not just going to sell it to just any random Joe Blow. I'm going to probably pass it down to my kids or to my nieces or nephew or somebody like that, or my younger siblings or somebody like that could keep the business afloat. So that's one thing. I think too, like I think there are a handful of black people that have the funds to get in on a football team, but it's I think about the guy that owns the Clippers. I forget his name. He was like the former CEO.
Oh, no, you talking about the one that was doing all the racist shit?
No, not him. The guy that he bought it from.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's a guy that worked at Microsoft. I forget his name, but those are the type of people that are buying teams, and he bought the team outright. Like it wasn't like he got like 4 or 5 people together. Like he went and bought the team himself. So it's one that teams are rarely ever even sold. You would think about the Niners, like the York family. That team is probably going to stay within that family name for, generations and generations. And then 2, it's like having the amount of money necessary to even having the cash available to even, purchase these teams when every decade or so there's a new team that comes around, or every 20 years somebody gets in trouble for saying something racist and they have to sell the team or something like that. So it just doesn't happen that often. Even like Yo Gotti, he got in on like DC United. He bought like a portion. He got in on the ownership stake of the soccer team. It's just like that. Those opportunities probably don't come that often in football, and they should change. And I think that I wish that there were black people that did own football teams, because I think it would change the dynamic of the NFL for forever. Just having somebody in there, but. It's just tough to get in there. It's far easier to be a head coach. It's far easier to be a quarterback. It's far easier to be a wide receiver on a football team. So
what's just weird to me though? I think it's weird that we live in a time where people act like, they will literally say like, racism. Nobody's really racist anymore, and it's like you can't quantify that statement. Mm-hmm. We got to stop saying things like this. Now, I don't think that I'm not walking around thinking the average person's racist, but I do. I give everyone a blank slate. But we need to stop acting like shit's not going on. Mm-hmm. That's just so stupid.
It just looks different now.
You got to understand that things evolve.
Racism is showing up an hour late and being drunk for an interview.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like you don't take me seriously. I've been in many situations as a black person where, let's say, for example, I remember I went to a tire shop. It was 2008. I remember I lost my job. And I think it was 2009 already. 2009. 2009, I lost the job, and I was looking for another one, or I got fired. And I went to this tire shop because I was desperate for a job, and I was applying at the same time as this dude. It was this white dude, and he's a cool guy. And we're just talking. I turned in my app. No, actually, no. I was checking the status of my application. I had already turned one in. And I said, hey, I hate to bother you guys. I know you're busy, but I was just checking the status of my application, just checking back in. And I did a physical walk-in because I didn't just do the online. I like to follow up. I went online to fill out the app, and then I like to follow up and go into the actual business. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just wanted to check on my application. And I was well-dressed, some khakis, some dress shoes, a nice buttoned shirt, And he said, we're currently not hiring right now. And then I seen the dude filling out an app, and I had like a little conversation. He's like, I'm filling out the app right now. I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, I left. And I went back probably 2 months later because my tire on my car was fucked up and I went to change my tire. And that kid was working there. The kid that I talked to,
Dang.
that put in, and mind you, the whole staff at that tire shop was all white. Mm-hmm. Everybody from top to bottom was white. Mm-hmm. Now, as a black person, it's harder for me to make a claim, make a point and say they didn't hire me because I was black. If I say that, I look crazy. Mm-hmm. They say it's all in your head, man. It's in your head. It has nothing to do with race. Mm-hmm. So you mean to tell me there have been no black applicants to that tire shop? None. Like, we have to also realize that sometimes it's not racial at all, but sometimes it is.
Yeah.
We can't have this one-sided narrative that literally squashes and devalues somebody's opinion or life experience.
Yeah.
Because that shit is real. Like, I think I've seen, there was I started seeing like cases where women would come forward with sexual assault, right? Mm-hmm. And then there'd be a dude in the comments like, oh my God, here goes another woman over here making up false claims. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hold on a minute, bro. Mm-hmm. What would possess you to just say that without knowing anything?
Yeah.
There are really women being raped, man. Mm-hmm. There are really women being sexually assaulted out here. Mm-hmm. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
But what's happening is when enough cases, and this is the sad thing, when there are enough cases or if there are any inklings of things that confirm a person's bias, like the Jussie Smolletts of the world, or when CNN randomly makes some statement about somebody being racist, but they wasn't really racist. When enough people play that card and it doesn't add up, when real issues happen, people conflate it as a joke. And that's the problem. When you oversaturate the topic of racism in America and it's not even like legit, what happens is people don't take it seriously when somebody is really being discriminated against. Mm-hmm. And that's a fucking problem, man. Mm-hmm. That's why when me and Keith have conversations on this podcast about something, like we talked about, what's her name from Destiny's Child? Not Beyonce, but was it Kelly Rowland?
Mm-hmm. With her kid.
Kelly Rowland's son had a party,
police.
But he had a police themed party, and there was a lot of outraged people, like black folks, like that's ridiculous. He shouldn't have that police thing. I'm like, wait a minute, we need black police officers. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, oh, I think it's racist. We shouldn't have that. I'm thinking like that's crazy. No, that type of thinking is off to me. Mm-hmm. But I'm able to see it from both sides for what's like a legit and what's not.
Yeah, my thing too is like, what does Brian Flores have to gain from this lawsuit? He's made it. He's up for a coaching job right now. Like, he's not putting himself in the best position to be a coach. You know what I mean? And I think the money that is gained from it is going to be however many millions of dollars. But he's been a coach in the NFL before, so I'm sure he's not broke by any means. So
no,
I don't see like what these people are saying when they think that he's just it's just a boy crying wolf out here. I think as far as my vantage point, he's doing something that's extremely selfless and putting his name on the line. Like, he's been in the headlines, and I'm sure there's a bunch of NFL owners that's sweating right now trying to gather up they team and stuff like that, and trying to gather up emails and paperwork and just trying to put a solid case together, because it might get ugly for the NFL. So we'll see how it plays out, man.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Flores and all involved. My thing is I just hope that if they find any wrongdoing, that people that were just randomly against black coaches saying that they were crying like babies and all of that, I hope that if there is legitimate proof that literally the NFL has to publicly announce and things that are wrong and how they're treating black coaches, I hope that you can actually go back and say, you know what? I was wrong for what I said. I think it was inaccurate now. And I hope that black coaches get a fair shake. But some people, you got to understand something too. Some people have had the luxury of not having to acknowledge any type of racial issues. So they'll say, what's the deal with them hiring black coaches? Why can't they just be coaches? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what Brian Flores is fighting for.
Yeah. Just trying to be a coach.
Just trying to be a fucking coach. So we'll see how this pans out, man. I just hope the best for all involved.
One thing too is like what happens with a lot of these coaches is they're generally on the staff of good teams. And then they end up going to, obviously, if a team is firing their coach, they're probably bad. They end up going to a bad team and they get 3 years, 2 years to try to change a whole losing culture on a football team. And it's very hard to do that. It's very rare that even happens. So just from that standpoint, these black coaches are kind of not really getting like a great opportunity. Like
100%.
Yeah, it's like it's not very often that, you know, black coaches getting hired for like what would be a great franchise like the New England Patriots or the Niners that have been to the Super Bowl or been in the conversation, been in the playoffs, you know, over the last decade, or even the Rams is a pretty decent organization. You know, they got a history of, you know, winning championships and stuff like that. But it's a lot of franchises that these black coaches end up going to. And sometimes I don't even be knowing that the head coach be black because, you know, it's a random AFC team that never plays on TV and they got 5 wins over the last 5 years.
Fucking Chargers.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's tough, man.
Yeah. In closing with this topic, qualified coaches that happen to be black once again, not just giving any black guy a job because he's a black guy.
Yeah.
Because that's not what you want. Because now what happens is black coaches have been put into a position that when they're unsuccessful and they're no good, you got people, see, this is why they didn't hire black coaches. They don't know how to coach.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to cut you off, but even the fact that they're trying to pay him to lose, it kind of reduces his resume. So when he goes out and tries to get another job, they're like, well, you won 2 games over here, but you got $100,000, $200,000, however many $1,000 in cash, but you have a terrible resume.
Yeah, that money would have been a career killer. Would have been career suicide if he did that. So, yeah. But there's that. Switching gears. And by the way, we may revisit this topic based on the fact that it's still very new. So we may revisit this topic shortly. All right, switching gears. The topic everyone's also talking about, Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan's recent use of the N-word. With Joe Rogan, I'll say this. I actually listened to Joe Rogan. So whenever this compilation video came out of him saying nigger, since I listened to it, I've heard those episodes like while they were on, and I was not offended. And the reason why is because he did it in context. And here's the thing, like he would say the word. Honestly, a lot of, especially black people, like I feel like the word nigger is like, it is like in the hierarchy of offensive racial slurs, like it's at the top for some, like it's literally at the top because it's affiliated with, you know, slavery and being hit with whips called niggers and shit. So it's at the top. When he said it, in his mind, I don't know what he was thinking, but he figured, hey, you know, I'm saying this in context, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, unfortunately, it was.
Side note, I just seen an interviewer who was talking to Eazy-E, and they were quoting his lyrics, and the white lady said nigga in there. Yeah, so
and he didn't like respond like mad or nothing.
No, he didn't say anything.
Yeah, he didn't say anything. But the thing about it, like it was within. It was weird to say, especially in the 90s, to say niggas with attitudes, or the word nigger is in your song. So whatever, right? And he wasn't mad because it was within context of that conversation. I think that what's happening now is this. I think it's another attempt with CNN and other people to try to cancel Joe Rogan. I also think Joe Rogan, he mentioned in a recent video that, you know, he seen it and it looked bad, even to him. He said, I should have never used it. I could have said the N-word instead of saying, you know, the N-word, the actual N-word. So I'm not trying to absolve Joe of saying nigga, like, or saying nigger. I'm not trying to absolve him of that. He made a mistake. That was actually very stupid. But I believe he's not racist at all. And I feel like he does a great job with his platform. But what I'll also say, before I lose my fucking point, is if you clip up the shit that me and Keith have said over the years, you can make us look however you want us to look. You can make me look like I'm homophobic or misogynistic or sexist if you clip shit up. But this is a very nuanced conversation. These podcasts are over 2 to 3 hours sometimes. How long have we been on today? How where we at, Keith?
Almost 3.
We almost at 3 hours today. So earlier I said I've said nigger, or I've made a statement about something. I said the B word earlier as like a response to something in that conversation. They'd be like, Eddie calls women bitches, and he's this and he's that, and then he used homophobic slurs. We need to cancel Truckers Mind podcast. The only people, if you narrow down who want to cancel Joe Rogan, it is white liberals with blue hair and CNN. That's who wants to cancel Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. is people with blue hair. Okay, that's literally what it is. Mm-hmm. There are people who are on YouTube and other internet or other platforms that have been complaining about Joe Rogan for years. And Joe Rogan can make a statement like, we need to get more healthy. We shouldn't be fat, man. We need to lose some weight and, do it for our families. And somebody will clip that up and say, Joe Rogan's fat phobic. I knew it. He's a fat phobic. They look for anything to get Joe off of these platforms, and it's sick.
Yeah.
Especially CNN. CNN, the funny thing is, CNN is gotten to the point where they don't even report news. Now they just look for hot topics, and they use Joe. Why are you talking about a podcast, motherfucker? Shouldn't you report real fucking news? Mm-hmm. He's using this platform to actually speak about what he cares about. Yes, Joe's platform is huge, but for y'all to be, the way the CNN is on Joe is sick. Mm-hmm. And what I really don't respect about CNN is they're trying to galvanize black people to go against Joe. Like, see, he said nigger. Look, see, he said nigger. And since you're so sensitive and you're affected by the word nigger, let's cancel Joe together. No, motherfucker, we got other issues to worry about. We're not worried about canceling Joe. We know Joe is solid. Even though he said that, it was still within context. Like I said, I'm not trying to absolve him of it, but we're not trying to cancel Joe. But there's real inequities and real inequalities that go on. We worried about that. We're not worried about this liberal agenda that CNN is tripping out on and trying to push.
Yeah.
And what I mean by, I don't think everything liberal is bad at all. Everything conservative is not bad at all. When you exist in the middle, you can see what's bad and what's good. And the shit that they pushing out, they try to get Sanjay Gupta on there, and they got that false information on Joe, and it's like, man, this shit is trash. Mm-hmm. Y'all need to stop. Don Lemon too. Mm-hmm. Don Lemon needs to fucking stop.
Yeah, I think that Joe Rogan is. I think there's this witch hunt, out to cancel him. His platform is way too big. He's getting millions and millions of listeners every week. He's also bringing in people that are well researched in certain areas,
exactly.
People that are well researched but also have different opinions than the masses oftentimes. So there's this witch hunt out for him, but he's definitely making it very easy for people like CNN and other outlets to try to cancel him. I don't think that the context of most of those conversations matter with Joe Rogan saying the N-word. I personally don't think that he is racist, but I also don't really condone like any white people just saying N-word. Saying nigga. I think that you can, speak about, certain things, or you can even quote lyrics or whatever by saying the N-word. There's guys that are very cool with black people that don't even use it in context. Guys like Rory, guys like Andrew Schultz are people that have
go ahead. I'll tell you in a minute.
Have podcasts with black people, and they are staying far away from even Parks on Joe Budden's podcast. These are people that make conscious efforts not to even use it in context. So I personally don't think that Joe Rogan is racist, and I know that there are a lot of people that think the same way, but I also wouldn't be mad at anyone that looked at those things and not necessarily would want to cancel him. But there are some black people that seen those takes and seen those clips, and it didn't really turn them off of Joe Rogan, but it kind of affirmed their belief that they aren't necessarily like fans of his. So right. I mean, I could understand that because he did actually say these. It's not right. No deep face. It's not whatever. These are actually things that Joe Rogan said. He obviously apologized for it. He got on his Instagram and and acknowledged the things that he said, and he said he's moving forward. He's not doing those things. But I could understand that standpoint. But I do think, like, just overall, Joe Rogan has created this monster of an outlet to where he's getting more traction oftentimes in some of these news outlets. And some of the things that he says is a direct contradiction or a direct or combating some of the things that, you know, these government entities or these government-led officials are saying. And it's just, you know, people going at it. And I think that there's a lot of people that don't like that. I think, you know, even not Joe Rogan is not Martin Luther King, but even when Martin Luther King was moving around and he was getting thousands of people to march in certain spaces, and he, you know, doing these speeches in front of thousands and hundreds of people. Yeah, they didn't like that attention.
A lot of black people hated him. Called him Uncle Tom.
Yeah, they didn't like that power that he was getting. So I think, you know, when the government sees people moving in this way and they're a individual person or or an entity that is operating outside of, you know, something that the government has control over, there's always going to be some sort of conflict.
And then these outlets with Don Lemon and you know, and Sanjay Gupta and all these people, what's crazy is how they only want to let certain people be the gatekeepers of the information that's facts, right? If I can use critical thinking of my own when it comes to COVID or the vaccine, why am I the bad guy for it? Why am I putting out misinformation? Why is it that if I have findings from the virus or something that happened to me and I talk about my experience, why am I giving out inaccurate information? Like, the gatekeeper shit is over with. If you're giving out blatantly wrong information, I can see that. But Joe Rogan will have a person that literally their whole life's work is researched in viruses and shit, and they'll talk about COVID, and then they will shit on Joe saying he's giving misinformation. It's just confirmation bias.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is just research, though. You know, there's not facts. These aren't facts. And even with the CDC, a lot of the information was changing on a daily basis. Yeah,
so how the fuck am I supposed to trust the CDC or the government when you motherfuckers are changing shit every day? Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Social distance. Wait, put your mask back on. Oh, take the vaccine. Wait, take another vaccine.
Yeah.
Wait, take another booster shot. Wait, get another booster shot. Matter of fact, do a backflip. Do the hokey pokey, spin around. Like, bitch, what the fuck do you want me to do? Here's the thing, though. Donnell Rawlings just came forward to speak up for Joe. And as a black man, you can look bad when you're defending a white person that said nigger. You'll have your own people that be like, why are you defending that white man saying that? Like, bro, it's different. Not only do me and Keith have done comedy and we understand the nuances of comedy, but we understand the nuances of conversation. And we also do a podcast, right? And here's the thing, David Goggins just spoke up right now. David, you know who David Goggins is.
Yeah.
David Goggins, this is what he wrote. I'll read this out because he just posted this. David Goggins, I've been attacked by a few people for being friends with Joe Rogan as of late. Funny, you must have mistaken me for someone who actually gives a fuck about your opinion. First, do I think Joe Rogan is racist? No. Was Joe wrong for saying nigger? Yes. When I was growing up and even in my later years, I was called a nigger more times than I could count. It was never the N-word. It was nigger. That said, I know racist motherfuckers and can vouch for Joe. The fucked up thing about all of this is that all eyes aren't on Joe because of his use of the N-word, rather for his views on other matters. They are using race, which is a real emotionally charged, divisive subject, as a smokescreen for the real issue, and that is what pisses me off. Facts. We just talked about this. These motherfuckers are attacking Joe, and it's a witch hunt, and it's not going to work. Anyways, if you have an issue with someone, let that issue.
It is working.
It low key, it's got him sweating a little bit, but it's gonna dissipate when you get enough black comedians coming forward and enough black figures and other people. And
you need power, though.
You need power, but I mean,
David Goggins is not CNN.
He's not. No, but CNN ain't nobody. They're not a reputable source.
They have power, though. They have money. They have voices or people's ears listening to what they have to say.
No, they have puppets. They have people who can't think for themselves. That's the difference. They have money, they have power, but they have puppets. And the thing about CNN, the reason why they really hate Joe is because they can't say what they want to say because they've been fucking castrated years ago. Yeah. CNN gives you a script. Here, say this, bitch. This is all you get to say. But Joe Rogan could go on his platform just like me and you and speak from our hearts. We can curse. We can say what we want. We don't have somebody up our ass paying us money. So that's the difference. If you have an issue with someone, let that be the issue. Don't hide it. Don't hide it behind something else. These podcasts have been around for years, and no one has said shit about them now because Joe's voice doesn't fit some agenda. If you don't walk lockstep with whatever the fuck is going on and don't agree with it, you risk someone going into archives of your life and finding whatever dirt they can to exploit you. We are slowly being walked down a path where we lose our voice. We don't all need to agree with one another, but we have to respect the fact that people should be able to say whatever the fuck they want to say, otherwise known as freedom of speech. Whether you listen or not should be your choice. I remain completely independent with no sponsor or partnerships, so I don't ever have to issue an apology for who the fuck I am or what I say. That is a great point. So basically, Joe Rogan had to issue an apology only because he with Spotify. The biggest mistake Joe made was fucking partner with Spotify. What the hidden message here?
I would hope he would have apologized regardless, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, people are leaving Spotify because of Joe.
Yeah.
Musicians are saying, I'm leaving because of Joe, but you gladly stayed on the platform with R. Kelly on it. Congratulations.
That also, Spotify is also paying you the most money, so I don't understand why you would want to.
Yeah, and then and the funny thing about fucking Neil Young, right? This motherfucker leaves Spotify, but you don't own your music, so the motherfuckers that own your music say, "Hey, bitch, you better go back."
Yeah,
You don't own your shit no more, motherfucker. We own it. Let's see. Hidden message: the different beliefs capable of making their own decisions. All you judging motherfuckers, take some time to think about what would happen to you if all the skeletons in your closet were put on display for everyone to see. Perhaps you want to think again before rushing to judgment. It's important in life, whether people like it or not, for you to be who the fuck you are and say what you want 100% of the time. Shout out to David Goggins. His book is amazing. Can't Hurt Me. Great.
I don't agree with most of what he said as far as like the freedom of speech is fine, but there's like repercussions for the things that we say.
100%.
So just because, you're independent or whatever doesn't mean you can walk around saying like, racially charged, homophobic things. That I think what he's almost giving somebody a license if they don't have a huge entity supporting what they do to almost say something racist or discriminatory. I don't agree with that.
But you got to understand what he said at the top. He said he didn't agree with what Joe Rogan said. The basis of his statement was, how would it be if somebody pulled out your skeletons? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you go back on mine's 10 or more years ago, and I was dropping a word that rhymes with maggot, thinking it was normal, but it's homophobic as fuck.
Yeah.
And if I was to ever record anything, they would cancel me and call me homophobic. Mm-hmm. So I could sit here and say, oh, Joe said nigger. No, don't listen to him no more. I was listening to the podcast when he said it. And I've heard motherfuckers say nigger in a disparaging way, and it offended me because it was fucked up. But when I'm listening to Joe say it, I wasn't offended. It was within context. It was describing something. Was it wrong? Yeah, he should have never fucking said it. Mm-hmm. But I'm a person that's not so emotionally driven that I'm not a nigger. I'm a man. First of all, my name is Eddie, not nigger. Mm-hmm. So I don't be like, oh my God, I'm crying, I'm so emotional. Joe, get him out of here. It's a pathetic attempt from liberal outlets. And me and Keith are more left-leaning, which is crazy, or middle-leaning or left-leaning. But we can see what the fuck they trying to do. Mm-hmm. This is just a lot of vegan liberals, okay, that hate Joe. And they're trying to weaponize and galvanize black people and the N-word against him. And think about how sick you got to be to create a compilation video. Think about that. Mm-hmm. You know, they say the people who hate you the most pay you the most attention. Mm-hmm. And this is a perfect case of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I do when I don't like people? I fucking ignore them.
Yeah, don't pay attention.
I don't pay attention to motherfuckers I don't like. I don't got to disrespect you. I can see you and just not acknowledge that you exist. Mm-hmm. But these people are hell-bent on going after Joe based on the fact that they tried to make him look stupid, and then they didn't work, and then they sent Sanjay Gupta on Joe Rogan's podcast and turned Sanjay into a fucking fanboy. Sanjay, when he left, Sanjay looked like a fucking puppy. They thought that they could just outsmart Joe, but Joe was very well researched that day. That was have you listened to that episode? Mm-mm. Everybody listen to this podcast. Make sure when you get a chance, go to Joe Rogan unless you and if you haven't canceled him from saying nigger, go to Joe Rogan and look up the episode with Sanjay Gupta from CNN, and you'll find that was a really good conversation. And there's a lot in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, man. I don't know how much else there is to say about this situation with Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. I just know that as a podcaster myself, I've taken some time to really look into this, and there's probably some black folks that's angry, like, "Oh, Eddie, how could you ever like defend Joe Rogan?" Well, first of all, that like what you need to understand is we can't live in a world where we hold people to a time or a thing they said when it wasn't meant to be malicious. And once again, I'm not defending him saying the word. He should have never said it. But we have to stop allowing a word to have that much fucking power over us. That shit's crazy. Another thing, too, I wanted to mention. I think I told you beforehand. When I went to trucking school, I had a classmate, cool guy. Got to know him for a while. And eventually I found that he had a swastika and some lightning bolts on his arm. And he had did some prison time, and he mentioned how ashamed he felt of having that on his arm and how he was getting it laser removed. And you know what that did to our friendship? Nothing. I was still cool with him. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have things that go on in their past, and it's so fucked up, and they just feel horrible about it, but sometimes it's still on them.
Yeah.
You know, it was a dude I seen that had a swastika on his neck. And he was like, "Oh, excuse me. Oh, thank you. Hey, you have a nice day, man. God bless you."
Yeah.
I could have said, "You got a swastika? You fucking racist motherfucker." Huh? Mm-hmm. But I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on in that guy's life. Maybe he's ashamed of that. What if he's getting that thing removed tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Why don't we think like this?
Yeah.
We literally almost feel like no one can change or evolve. Mm-hmm. What's her name? What's the woman that had the cookware? Paula Deen. Did she say nigger a long time ago?
Yeah.
What was that, like in the 60s or something? She said nigger? It was a long time ago they busted her saying nigger. And they
I don't think it was the 60s.
It was a long time ago, though. It wasn't.
But she was doing racist stuff recently.
Recently?
When she got canceled, that stuff was recent stuff.
That wasn't recent. The initial was a long time ago. Watch.
In the 60s?
I don't know if it was in the 60s, but it's a long time ago. And then she had cookware and they fucking canceled it. Mm-hmm. Watch. Paula Deen. All right. Hold on. Racist statement. All right, what it say? Racist spawn, Oprah. Overlooked Paula Deen's racism. The radio selling cooking for a decade. God damn it. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I just want to know how long ago it was. She published a cookbook, random 1980 feature by QVC, so thousands, blah, blah, blah. Damn. I'm just trying to find out what it was that got her canceled. And it was a while back. You see it? Or you pull it up?
No, I don't see it.
Oh, Caleb. Okay, hold on. Paula Deen admits to using the N-word. I'm trying to think of what it. Where is it at? Okay, her company issued a statement Thursday saying Dean used the effete, but a quite different time in American history. She was born 60 years ago when America's South schools are segregated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, monitor the situation, Food Network.
But it's off the back of a lawsuit. Someone was suing her for, suing her and her brother for using, for sexual and racial harassment.
Wow.
And in the deposition, that's when.
So they was calling them niggers and grabbing their booty, or what was going on?
I guess.
Can you imagine how that crazy that would feel?
Yeah.
They'd be like, nigger, grab your ass. You'd be like, I'm offended and turned on at the same time. Oh, shit. Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't think there's much else to say in regards to this topic. I hope that Joe Rogan learned from this. This is probably the most hot water he's ever been in, even though it's some fuckity fuck shit and it's intentional.
The only thing that I will say, a couple of things. One is that I do think there is some sort of witch hunt, but there's also people that get off on this. There are people that get off on just whoever did the thing with Kevin. Yeah, be like, oh my gosh, let's get all these celebrities and find all the skeletons in their closet.
I'm gonna come.
But the Kevin Hart situation and Joe Rogan and a bunch of other people, even with Charlemagne with his sexual assault allegations and stuff like that. There are people that like really they like to put this stuff in the atmosphere. So I think that it's it may be a witch hunt, but there's also just a bunch of people looking out for things that celebrities did. But also I will say that there's time frames matter, and I think time frames are very important. So for me to be saying homophobic slurs like in 2022 on this podcast right now, and then for it to come out maybe 2 years down the line when we sign some big deal, like they put a clip up of me using the word maggot or whatever. Right. That conversation is a lot different than if I said that same thing in 2009 or 2010. And the thing with Joe Rogan is that he said that he had only stopped using the word 2 years ago. So I think that that conversation, it just goes over a little different. Do I think that Joe Rogan is a racist? I don't. Do I think that Joe Rogan is, should be canceled? I don't. Do I think that I am, perfect myself? No. But I get the thing that I will say is I do not use racial slurs, at least to my knowledge. So you won't catch me saying like, any sort of discriminatory things, or you won't have a compilation of me saying
that's
these
true.
wild things.
You won't have a compilation, but we do poke fun. We do say certain things. There'll be like somewhat of an Asian like joke, or it'd be little small nuances of whether it be Latinos or black folks or whatever. But I think that people that listen to this podcast, just like people that probably listen to Joe Rogan, understand that it's a very nuanced conversation. It's not meant to be disparaging at all. Just like you mentioned, like we was laughing at designer, and you say, yo, I think this dude is retarded. And we was busting up laughing. Do you know how many people will be offended by us saying the R word?
Yeah, that's
like
real.
I have a kid with special needs. How dare you talk about? So there is no such. You can never have any conversation that doesn't involve someone being offended or opposed to what you're talking about. So the best thing you could do is that when you talk, just give as much context as possible. Yeah. And and hope, but using the derogative words is where you fuck up.
The best thing you could do, you got to be able to stand on it. So if we get canceled for using the R word, that was a hilarious joke, and I'm willing to take the downfall.
You saying the R word is bad, nigga? You retarded.
Oh my gosh. We'll probably for those of you listening, make sure you maybe download this or something like that, because it'll probably be taken off the airwaves.
We get a fucking
5 years.
You get a fucking email from the FCC. So you're not gonna take us down for all the time we said nigger, but you're gonna get us down from when we said retarded, huh? I see what it is. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, I just think like it's one of those things. Like Andrew Schultz is a comedian that always is on the side of comedians. He's always on the side of content. And it's a fine line we walk, man. You're on these things, you're talking, you're having these conversations about race and politics and sexuality and all these things, and it's rough out here when you're kind of, especially in today's day and age where people are looking for that. They're looking to cancel you. They want the headlines of a Joe Rogan coming out and saying whatever thing. They want the headlines of Whoopi Goldberg coming out and saying these wild things. They want the headlines of a Trucker's Mind podcast with a few hundred listeners every week to be canceled.
Before we shut it down, bro, we gotta show love to the city, man. Like we got a lot of people fucking with it now. Like a lot of people. There's a huge spike in viewership as of recent. So, we want to thank these two, especially Bakersfield and, hold on one second. got to start showing people some respect, man. For, putting some respect on the Truckers Mind podcast, putting some respect on our name.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Bakersfield, obviously, and Denham Springs.
Where's that at?
Denham Springs. I looked it up earlier. I forgot what state it is, but shout out to you. Shout out to Aurora, Colorado. Shout out to Reno, Nevada. Shout out to Pine Mountain Club. Shout out to Long Beach, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Delano, Seattle, Los Angeles, Santa Clara. What the fuck? I don't know how to say that. Metatari. Shout out to Copenhagen. I think Copenhagen, is that Canada? Then shout out to Minneapolis. Shout out to Tampa, Harlan, Tucson, Arizona. Shout out to New Orleans. Shout out to Toronto. Wow, Toronto, Canada.
T-Dot, okay.
Yeah, and the 6.
We're going to go up there and have 6.
Shout out to Joplin. Shout out to Miami, Tallahassee, Big Bear, Carson City, Nevada.
City.
Shout out to Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Shout out to Las Cruces.
Shout out to Madison
man.
Heights. Shout out to Washington. Shout out to Oakland. Shout out to Mountain View. So shout out to y'all, man.
Not a lot of those places, but a few of those places I've actually lived in. So it's cool to see like people that that I knew or were am friends with consuming the content. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. Shout out to LA too. I went to the overall analytics and they've done put in work. But Bakersfield in the league, Bakersfield is the main one showing the love.
That hometown love.
That
hometown
like
love.
Nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. But yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. For all those who have made it to the end of this podcast, we appreciate you and thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to a Truckers Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're out of here.
Peace.